You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 14th part of What If Naruto Enters Witch? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of pyrohelixdrago, co-written with KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Heatherfield Bookstore. B was currently learning how to care for animals from VERYYYY as she was a very serious animal lover, and as they did this, Hunter wandered the bookstore and saw a book on the bookshelf lightly glow red. Hunter, being the young curious animal he was able to pull out the book with his teeth, and when it fell to the ground it revealed a book with 5 symbols that he'd seen when the girls transformed on it. It had emerald green trims and a purple center, and currently one symbol was glowing a bright orange color, and when he placed his paw on it, streams of power came out from the book surrounding him, making changes to his appearance as he was now bigger than a full-grown husky, becoming a little more black, having red and orange streaks through his fur. His paws appeared to be on fire but left no burn marks or evidence of burning. Hunter examined his new form and did the only thing anyone would do: he started running, not noticing he was affecting some nearby plant life, giving it some life even to dead plants. The book Hunter touched placed itself back on the shelf, but one could feel the book had an otherworldly presence to it, and after that B and VERYYYY came out to see Hunter was missing and a small trail of grass leading outside the bookstore. They quickly followed after it, wanting to see what caused it. Back with Naruto. OSHT, Naruto thought as he felt something coming from the volcano, and it wasn't just the fast approaching lava rising, and not a moment sooner a rock creature having 3 holes in its face, 2 acting as eyes, the last one acting as a mouth. He felt nature chakra coming from it, which was a little concerning as it felt tainted somehow. "The hell is that?" Cornelia asked, seeing the rock creature, who looked at them and fired a stream of lava at them from its hands. "Don't know," Terene said, a little concerned as she wished Irma was here to cool the creature down till it was just a statue, but remembered Naruto was here and looked toward him. "Can't this thing is magic? It's like water won't cut it, plus I have to stop that," Naruto said as lava was leaking through some cracks and crevices below the peak of the volcano. "You two need to fight that thing while I cool it down," he said, not wanting the island to burn till it was nothing but ash. "We've faced worse," Cornelia said, a little scared of the elemental creature. "You do realize one wrong move means we're dead, right?" Terene said, still not knowing if she was lava-proof. The creature started shooting out more and more lava at them, but they were able to dodge due to the distance. It became angry as it hadn't destroyed the girls yet, so it absorbed some nearby lava, and its body started to grow, becoming giant, its body becoming and shining a bright orange flame with lava oozing out the cracks of his body. "We're F," Terene and Cornelia thought as the creature became bigger and stronger. The creature manifested its hand to become a flaming hammer and brought it down, hoping to kill the girls. Terene noticed that the volcano was beginning to rumble more loudly and the lava was beginning to leak out through the now bigger cracks. "If this goes on much longer, this thing is gonna burn this island to the ground," she thought, seeing it grow bigger and making the volcano more unstable. "I'm the only one who can stop this," she thought, dashing toward the creature, jumping into its body. Cornelia looked in horror as she saw Terene jump into the creature. Her horrified look became one of anger as her hands began to vibrate, and when she touched the ground the cracks in the volcano began to mend. And when she looked at the creature, but she noticed something strange. The creature began to shrink and lose its light and slowly turn into a stone statue, and soon a bright light started to shine from its stone chest, and soon Terene bursted out, shining in only her orange BR and panties. "Hey, I'm back, are you?" Naruto was saying till he noticed Terene's state of dress and gained a nosebleed. "Where'd you buy those?" Cornelia asked with a smirk as she noticed they very lacy and revealing. Terene then blushed from embarrassment. At that moment, even after everything they did to each other, she still got embarrassed from time to time. I'm gonna ravish you till you submit to me all over again, Naruto said, whispering into Terane's ear. Terane liked her dry lips in anticipation, as she loved it when Naruto dominated her, controlling and taking her body for his own use and using it however he pleased. It made her quiver in pleasure from the mere thought of what he'd do to her or make her do. Later. I just love my life, Naruto thought as he watched his girlfriends danced in their respective colored tube tops and leafy short skirts. Later. Everyone was currently eating at a table enjoying native dishes. Naruto sent a look to Terane. Terane, I want you right now, he said to her mentally in a commanding tone. You got it, stud, Terane mentally said to him, quivering a little from his commanding tone. Naruto smiled as he then looked to Irma. Irma, quiero que tu cono este mojado y listo porque Terane y yo lo vamos a desgastar, he said to her in Spanish, telling her he wanted her pee-pee wet and ready cause he and Terane were gonna wear it out. Irma at that moment started to drool from the sheer hotness she felt hearing Naruto speak in her cultural language and what he planned to do to her. Later on the yacht. That's it right there, Terane said, wearing her multicolored one-piece as Irma, who was wearing small navy blue two-piece, ate her out under the water in the hot tub they were relaxing in. I see you started without me, Naruto said, approaching the edge of the hot tub completely NDE and his pee-pee very irked. Irma is such a SLT, she wanted to get herself ready by having some fun with me first, Terane said, impressed by how long Irma held her breath. Well, she not the only one, Naruto said, entering the hot tub standing having his pee-pee directly in Terane's face. Now SCK, he said in a dominating tone. Terane licked her lips and began blowing him, doing what she was told. Irma came up for air and immediately took off her top at the sight of Naruto, and as soon as she reached his face she immediately began making out with him. Terane was not pleased. Irma was no longer pleasuring her, so she parted from Naruto's pee-pee and grabbed Irma, pushing her to the edge of the hot tub so she was on all fours. Irma got all excited from the rough treatment she was receiving, and it was showing based on how wet she was. Will was right, you are a SLT that must be broken in, Terane said, as the girls sometimes talked about the SXL experiences with Naruto, and she noticed how excited Irma was, and maybe I should be the one to do it, she said, pulling out a wooden paddle she hid as she planned to use it on Irma before they got into the hot tub. Naruto smirked as he watched the RTC scene. He got behind Terane and slowly rubbed his pee-pee between Terane's lower lips, making the girl as she slowly glided the paddle up Irma's legs, giving it a few light slaps. Irma was panting from the small pain she felt from the light taps from the paddle and wanted to receive more painful spanks, as she loved the numbness she felt from the strong slaps she got and how hard she got slapped, as it always made her more excited, as it thrilled her as she awaited the next spank, hoping it was harder than the last. Terane smirked as she listened to the symphony that was Irma's and enjoyed how Naruto was teasing her pee-pee with his pee-pee, rubbing it in between her folds, not penetrating her, making her wet with anticipation. Will you spank the SHT out of me already? Irma yelled angrily, having enough of not receiving any hard spanks and Terane's teasing. Well, she's been a good girl today, Naruto said, petting her peach. Give her what she wants, Terane, he said, ordering Terane, who brought the paddle back and gave Irma's peach a hard slap. The clapping sound was very audible. Irma let out a gasp from the painful slap to her ass cheeks, and her pee-pee started leaking out a massive amount of juices. Again, Naruto said, commanding Terane, who did it without question, getting the same reaction as the first time when the paddle connected to Irma's peach. More spank the SHT out of me. Irma yelled as her peach was bright red and her pee-pee gushed out juices. Better idea, Naruto said, turning Irma over so she was on her back, as he then got up and kneeled, having his pee-pee close to Irma's face. Terane hit her tips, he said to the SBMSSV Fire Guardian, who did as she was told and ruthlessly hit the Water Guardian's tips. Irma began to leak from the aggressive SXL SLT she was receiving, blacking out from such overwhelming pleasure. Naruto walked over to the hot tub and sat down in the warm water. Terane, come here, he said with a smile. Terane ripped off her bikini as she walked over to Naruto with nothing but lust in her eyes. Stop, Naruto said, making Terane halt her approach as she stood in the hot tub waiting for Naruto to tell her what to do. Naruto got up and got behind Terane grpng her right brst with one hand and began fingering her pp with his other hand. I want you to tell me what you are, Terane, he said, whispering into her ear, then began kissing her neck, hoping to leave a mark. Your SLT Naruto, Terane said, panting as he increased his fingering speed, so please F me, fill all my holes until I'm a drooling mess, she said, begging as she panted. Good girl, Naruto said, whispering into her ear as he thrusted his pp all the way into Terane, making her scream in pleasure. He then placed her against the edge of the hot tub so she was now on her back. He then took his D out of her pp, then plunged it into her peach. Oh my god, you are the best, please shot ropes of your juices into me, please fill me up till my peach, WMB, and pp are filled and they can't handle any more juices. Terane said in lust-filled excitement. Oh, trust me, I will, and much more, my little SLT, Naruto said as he knew Terane got excited from demeaning SXL comments toward herself. Terane felt her rectum get filled with Naruto's juice, making her as she always felt fulfilled by Naruto painting her inner walls. Naruto pulled Terane into a passionate kiss before he started to SCK on her melons, changing between them as he was now F Terane's PP again. Terane, he said, wanting her attention. Yes my love, Terane said with a pleasured smile. I want you to get on all fours and lick Irma's PP as I finish off your salty PP, Naruto said, seeing the happy smile on Terane's face as she got up and did what she was told as she began liking Irma's juice-filled PP and into it as Naruto re-entered her, dominating her, making his claim on her body, reminding her he owned her body and had absolute control over it, not even needing to ask permission to do what he wanted to it as she surrendered herself to him. Earlier in Heatherfield, Hunter ran through alleyways in panic, not understanding what was happening to him, but even in all his panic he stopped as he saw a truck full of caged dogs all barking to be released. Hunter growled as he recognized the truck and unknowingly began to shrink back to normal. A man next to the truck saw Hunter and smirked as he walked over to Hunter and grabbed him by his collar, removing it, not knowing that wouldn't make a difference as Hunter had multiple seals on him so Naruto could find him. He then placed Hunter inside a cage in the truck and took off. B and Oryup soon arrived as they followed the trail of grass and flowers, which soon ended. What the hell are we even chasing? B asked, not knowing what could do this. I don't know, Oryup said, equally confused, till she noticed something at the end of the trail, and when she bent down to pick it up she was surprised as it was Hunter's collar. But I know who, she said, showing B the collar. What's going on, yo? B said, a little confused as to what was happening to the little dog. Oryup looked around for Hunter, but to no avail till she heard a lot of loud barks coming from the inside of a truck. B saw where Oryup's eye landed and instantly knew what she was thinking, so he took out a kunai and sprayed some ink on it so it would be easy to track, and threw it at the truck. Some island in the Caribbean. Naruto was currently in a changing room as they had arrived at an island and did a little shopping for souvenirs and clothing. He had gotten some new swim trunks which he was putting on now as they were heading to the BB after they all finished, and just as he was about to leave the changing room, Lin burst in and pushed him against the wall, looking extremely hot and bothered as she panted feverishly, wearing a light blue triangle string bikini that seemed a size too small for her. Naruto, please, Lin said as she rubbed her melons against Naruto's exposed chest. My PP needs you, Naruto, she said as her PP's juices could be seen trailing down her legs. What's up with you, Lin? Naruto asked as this was out of character for her. I just need you, Naruto, my PP misses your PP, Lin said as her PP ached whenever she heard or saw Naruto F one of the others, or just whenever. Alright, but if you want it you'll have to work for it, Naruto said, taking his PP out, which Lin stared at lustfully at Naruto's member and knew he wanted her to SCK it, so she wasted no time eating it with gusto. Man, what happened to the innocent girl I knew, Naruto thought as Lin hadn't changed personality-wise, just sexually, as she was shy and vanilla when it came to SEC, but now she acted like his own personal nympho yet still retained her innocence except when it came to SXL acts. Even now she was giving him an innocent look as she pumped his PP into her mouth. He then grabbed her head and manhandled her, making her take in all of his PP as he leaked down her throat. Lin felt all of Naruto's load go down her throat as it entered and filled up her stomach. God, I can't get enough, she thought, wanting more of his juice. Naruto took his PP out of Lin's mouth much to her displeasure but made it up to her by picking her up, pressed her back against the wall of the changing room, moved her swimsuit bottoms to expose her PP and thrust it into her. Lin would have loudly if Naruto hadn't pressed his hand against her mouth to silence her With Irma. Where is he? Irma asked herself as the others had already left for the BB but hadn't seen Naruto leave the store as she waited by the entrance, receiving May perverted looks and stares in her V-neck short-sleeved bikini. The bottom piece was very tight, squeezing her peach tightly as she wanted Naruto to stare at it, wanting him to want her at that moment. As soon as she walked by the changing room she heard some banging, and when she went to inspect it she looked in the changing room. She saw Naruto Lin, who had her legs wrapped around his waist. Lin, you need to be quiet, if you don't we'll get caught, Naruto said between breaths as he panted. Too late for that, babe, Irma said as she walked inside and closed the door. Look at you, Lin, taking it like a champ, she said, impressed by how Lin was performing. Well, if you are gonna watch, then how about you help me get Lin off, Naruto asked, not even ceasing his thrusts into Lin. Irma did as she was asked as she walked over and began kissing Lin as she began grpng both her tips. Lin became very tight from the treatment and pleasure she was receiving, leaking along with Naruto. As Lin got back on her feet, her PP was immediately assaulted by Irma's tongue as she ate Naruto's juice out of her PP. You two taste amazing, Irma said as she swallowed the combined juices of Naruto and Lin. Naruto was closely watching Irma's peach as she ate out Lin and decided to give it a hard slap, watching it bounce as she loudly. Take it off, you naughty SLT, he said as knew Irma liked the rough treatment. Yes, Poppy, Irma said, giving him a wink as she slowly took off her swimsuit bottoms and pressed her hands against the wall before she began shaking her peach expectantly. Naruto soon approached and pressed his PP against Irma's PP lips, and just as he was about to enter, Irma Lin came from behind him and wrapped her arms around his neck. Wreck her, Naruto, make her beg for your PP and then do the same to me so we can both be stuffed with your juice, Lin said as she kissed Naruto's neck as she wanted to be furiously by him. I like this new attitude, Irma said as it was very hot to see Lin act so CC and desperate. Please me more, she begged as Naruto's tip was the only thing inside of her and she wanted his entire PP inside her. Don't need to tell me twice, Naruto said as he began her furiously and reached into her bikini top and fondled her melons erotically as he massaged them and pinched her tips. Hearing her loud and pants made him smile. He continues his SXL SLT on her body, making her gush out her juices. Lin went up to Irma and began to make out with her as she had been a little neglected and soon lost control of her lust and basically began to hump herself against Irma. Irma kissed Lin back and started pinching her tips, making Lin into their kiss. One more round, we're pushing our luck, Naruto said as they had been in this room a long time. Please me one more time, Naruto, Lin said, beggingly, needing his PP to fill her up once more. It really makes me hard when they beg, Naruto thought, becoming more irked. Okay, he said, getting on his back. The girls rushed over to his body, Lin soddling herself on his PP while Irma saddled herself on his mouth. We make a good team, Lin said, bouncing on Naruto's PP hastily. You bet, Irma said, pulling Lin into another kiss. A knock was heard at the door, making everyone panic as they grabbed their clothing and grabbed Naruto as he teleported them out. Heatherfield. Hunter was currently locked in a cage inside a large room full of other caged animals. He stared at his two bowls, which was filled with dirty water and old food. Hey Thomas, glad you can make it, a man who was sitting by the door said as a businessman with red hair showed up. I always like to inspect the merchandise, Thomas said as he looked at each cage as he walked by them. So when's the next big fight, he asked looking at the man by the door. A week, the man said surely. Well, let's see how much fight each of these little guys have, Thomas said as he thinks he'd seen enough. Bookstore. We're so dead if we don't find Hunter, B said, foreboding what Naruto would do to them. What's worse is how we might find him, VERYYYY said as they lost the truck as it went to a crowded part of Heatherfield, but when they notified the police they were informed that they caught the man but the truck was empty, and when the man confessed he told the police he sold them to an illegal underground dog fighting ring. B got angry just hearing that because even though he and Hunter never got along very well he wasn't about to let him be abused, he didn't even realize that he was unleashing. The book that affected Hunter had begun to glow again as it seemed to be awakened by B's lightning, making the mark that was similar to Will's when she transformed glow. Later with Naruto. What is that? Naruto said as he saw a large black cloud approach the island from a good distance away. Something is off with that storm cloud, he thought as he felt something inside the cloud. Gonna need Will and Lin, he thought, as a wind and lightning user seemed like the best bets for stopping a storm. Later. How was this a good idea? Will asked as they dodged numerous bolts of lightning. It's better than letting it get to the island, Naruto said as he absorbed a lightning bolt. What kinda lightning is this, he thought, as it wasn't natural but seemed to be coming from the cloud. It just won't go away, Lin said as he blasted wind through it and created a vortex. They were all interrupted as they heard a loud caw noise coming from the cloud and multiple bolts of lightning struck the same location, and in the place of the lightning strike was a bird man, the body of a man except with the head and arms having bird features. This is getting weird, Naruto thought as he dealt with a lava monster days ago and now a lightning one. This isn't the hag that I know for sure, he thought as it seemed impossible that she was tracking their movements thanks to the HAREM. So what is this, and are there more? He thought as if the lava creature was fire and the lightning creature represented lightning, it meant there were 3 more elemental creatures. The lightning creature grew impatient and opened its beak mouth and fired a ball of lightning at the 3, which they luckily dodged. Will was able to absorb the excess energy of the blast of lightning, and when she fired a blast of lightning at it, it absorbed her lightning, getting bigger. F me, she thought, realizing that she was basically useless for this kind of opponent, knowing she and it could absorb the other's energy. Will stay close to Lin, Naruto said as he had a similar thought to Will and knew it'd be best for her to stay close to Lin as she couldn't absorb the attacks, and if her attacks were weaker than the creature's it would pierce right through her wind. Got it, Will said, getting close to Lin. The creature flew directly toward Naruto, throwing punches at him, and as Naruto blocked each one he felt a discharge of energy. This thing can't hold a charge, he thought as he could feel the electrical discharge as it exerted itself, but suddenly it disappeared and soon reappeared behind him. What was that? He thought, not understanding how the creature got behind him. The creature suddenly roared and lightning erupted everywhere in the cloud. It's the cloud, Naruto thought in realization. The creature isn't just this thing, it's the cloud, he thought as the creature seemed to be able to manipulate the cloud. Naruto, what are we gonna do? Lin asked behind Will, who absorbed lightning bolts heading toward them. I have an idea, Naruto said, extending his hand, creating a Raisin Shuriken. Lin, you know what to do, he yelled out. Got it, Lin said as she extended her, creating a giant Rasengan before she started adding her wind. Naruto got a good distance away as Lin rushed the creature, hitting the creature dead center in its chest. Just as Naruto threw it at the creature's back, the 2 attacks started, creating a massive vortex of wind, disrupting the cloud, destroying the creature and the cloud. Later on Naruto's yacht. You got to F with me, Naruto said, arriving on his ship, seeing a bunch of men with guns on his ship. The men all aimed their guns at Naruto and the girls. Girls, be careful as you F these guys up but not damage the ship, Naruto said as he could only assume all these men were pirates. Those girls will fetch a hefty price, one man said, getting some smirks from the others. Naruto instantly became enraged. F it, use your powers, he said, pulling the men's guns toward him using his Rinnegan. Karine soon waved her hands, which glowed red and melted the front of the guns, making them incapable of firing their ammunition. The other girls soon used their powers on the pirates, sending them overboard, running and screaming away from the ship. Later. Hey Cornelia, Will said, sitting in the corner of Cornelia's room on the ship, sitting in the dark till Cornelia turned on the light. Will was wearing thigh-high leather high-heeled boots and a leather one-piece that had long sleeves, while also holding a writing CRP. Ugh, hey Will, Cornelia said, curious as to why Will was wearing what she was wearing, and felt both aroused and a little afraid by it. Do you know why I'm here, Cornelia? Will asked, inspecting her writing CRP. No, Cornelia said, feeling like she shouldn't have answered. That's too bad, Will said getting up walking up to Cornelia inspecting her body up and down before she placed the writing CRP down and began GRPNG Cornelia's tips. Do you like them? Cornelia asked with confidence as Will groped her only to be silenced by Will's lips as she pulled Cornelia into a very deep kiss. Will pulled away from the kiss and saw the massive blush on Cornelia's face. STRP, she said grabbing her writing CRP. Cornelia STRPPD down to her BR and panties and became very nervous what Will would do to her and was soon hit on her BRST by Will's writing CRP. When I said STRP I meant everything, Will said seriously. Cornelia took of her BR and panties and was soon examined by Will very closely. Very nice Cornelia now, Will said as she sat down spreading her legs revealing her one-piece crotch area revealed Will's glistening PP, now lick it, she said dominantly. Cornelia wasted no time and went down on her liking Will hastily. That's enough, Will said as she struck Cornelia's peach with the writing CRP and looked at Cornelia's face liking that it was covered in her juices. She soon put on a strap-on and approached Cornelia. Get on all fours on your bed, she ordered. Cornelia did as she was told, but became nervous when Will was rubbing the strap-on on her peach till Will plunged it into her PP. You aren't allowed to leak Cornelia, Will said making Cornelia look back to her in surprise. You can only leak when you submit to me, she said in a deadly serious tone as she thrust it into Cornelia. Be Naruto's SLT, do whatever he or I tell you and I'll allow you to leak like the desperate where you are, she said knowing Cornelia was close. I submit, Cornelia screamed in pleasure wanting to leak. Prove it, Will said wanting proof of her submitment. MSTRS, Cornelia screamed as she climaxed all over Will's strap-on. Good enough, Will thought taking the strap-on off and struck Cornelia's peach again with the writing CRP, get on the floor and sit like a dog, she said as Cornelia did what she was told. Here you go, she said placing a collar on her that said, Naruto's B, and put a ring GG around her mouth then grabbed the leash that was already hooked on the collar. Now we're gonna walk all the way to Naruto's room but you'll be walking on all fours like a good bee, she said with a smirk as she wanted Cornelia to be a bee in every way. Cornelia blushed furiously as Will walked her to Naruto's room passing by the girls' room luckily none of them coming out. Oh before I forget, Will said taking out her phone and aimed it at Cornelia, pose for me B, she said raising her writing CRP to show she was serious. Cornelia did as she was told and posed for Will as she took many shots of her in many positions each being very CCNRTC. She was very embarrassed as she shed a few tears as she was hating herself for loving this so much. Cornelia, Elian said seeing her best friend NDE on the floor like a pet. Oh Elian perfect timing, Will said with a smile, I was just breaking in Cornelia about to show her off to Naruto, she said pulling the leash pulling Cornelia forward. Oh Cornelia, Elian said getting on her knees seeing her best friend being treated like a pet, this is such a good look on you, she said with a wicked smirk surprising Cornelia unable to say anything with the ring GG preventing her from speaking. And it'll be a good look on you, Will said intending to put Elian in the same state as Cornelia, so will you do as you're told or will I have to do this the hard way, she asked with a smirk liking either option. You think you can tame me, Elian asked with a defiant tone. No I know I can Cornelia restrain this little SLT, Will said as Cornelia did as she was told and restrained her best friend. Now to get rid of these, she said ripping of Elian's shirt and skirt she had been wearing leaving her NDE, no panties or BR, she asked with a smirk. Well according to Naruto I'm his salty queen so I figured I'd make his job easier, Elian said a little proudly. Well let's see how true that is, Will said with a smirk as she got on her knees in front of Elian. Cornelia play with her tips, she said as she eating Elian out. Cornelia did as she was told and groped Elian as Will ate her out watching as her best friend MMM. This the best you got, Elian asked sweating a little and restraining her MMM. Will stopped her assault on Elian's PP and looked at the naked queen. Well I guess if this isn't enough I just might call the others to watch you get F, she said making Elian freeze up. Elian's PP moistened a little from the thought of that happening but she didn't want the other girls to see her in this state and lowered her head in embarrassment. Will smirked seeing Elian lower her head seeing it as a sign of her defeat. Cornelia I want you to play with this SLT till I get back and if I find out she gives you any trouble spank her, she said walking away. Few minutes later. Now Elian hold still, Will said pushing in a cat tail and plug into Elian's peach her being silenced as she kissed Cornelia's CNT and for your ears and collar, she said placing cat ears on her head and placed the collar around Elian's neck which said Naruto's kitty, and then placed a ring GG over her mouth like Cornelia, oh and before I forget pose Elian. She said taking salty pictures of Elian like she did Cornelia then the both of them together before they went to Naruto's room and when the three arrived they saw him in only shorts doing pull-ups watching the sweat on his body glisten over his hard muscles. God that body the three corny women thought getting wet from the sight of them. Hey Will dash, Naruto was saying till he stopped mid-sentence seeing how the three girls were dressed. Few minutes later. I know you were sadistic but this is insane, Naruto said taking off Cornelia's and Elian's collars and gags. Well I was bored, Will said as she was very corny and bored and just decided she'd have a three-way with someone she hadn't with. Seriously, Naruto asked incredulously as he didn't know the limit of Will's perversity. Yep, Will said as easily as breathing. Look Will I think you went too far so as punishment me and Cornelia and Elian are gonna punish you, Naruto said as they dragged Will to his bed fully intending to make sure she learned her lesson. OSHT, Will thought remembering what happened last night and realized she was tied up and dead, her PP feeling raw from Naruto's rough treatment from last night and how full it felt with a VBRTR in it. She saw Cornelia and Elian giving Naruto a BLWJ those SLTS she thought as she was unable to talk due to the BLLGG in her mouth. How's it feel Will to be the SLT this time around? Elian said happy that the tables have turned. Cornelia make sure this SLT sees as our man F me do whatever you want to her, she planting a kiss on Will's cheek. Cornelia made sure Will's face was in a position where she could clearly see Elian riding Naruto as she began to pinch one of Will's tips before she started fingering her denying her the pleasure of release. Pour your seed into me, Elian said beggingly. My salty queen seems very needy, Naruto said as he thrust it into her harder as he leaked inside her. Me next Foxy, Cornelia said approaching Naruto. Look at you wet and desperate to be filled with his PP, Elian said coming face to face with Will. Will just glared in response still gauged. Just look at my PP, Elian said showing her PP which juices leaked out of. You want this juices don't you, she said as she saw the hungry look on Will's face. Don't worry you'll get a taste, she said undoing Will's GG and immediately sat on her face making Will eat her out. Naruto was roughly thrusting into Cornelia as she clawed his back trying to keep a good grip on him. I'm leaking. Cornelia yelled as Naruto proceeded to pin her to the bed and leaked deeply inside her. Naruto looked over to Will and saw her at the end of her rope with after adding Elian out. He approached her as Elian got off her. Have you learned your lesson? He asked her sounding stern. Yes F me please, Will said beggingly needing relief. Who's in charge? Naruto asked rubbing his PP between her PP lips. You own my body like all these other SLTS were just holes for your PP needing to be stuffed with your juices, Will said wanting to be F. Good little SLT, Naruto said entering her roughly as he started thrusting into her. It's kind of funny how far we've come as friends, Elian said never thinking they'd be this kinda close as she began eating out Cornelia. Just shut up and eat me out, Cornelia said as she ate out Elian. Will screamed out in pleasure as she climaxed dropping dead as Naruto got off of her. Enough already. Irma said yelling as she pounded on the wall. Either spread the love or get out here for breakfast. Terane said as she was tired of the ship rocking. All four of them laugh, they have a point let's go eat, Naruto said as they got dressed. Later. The F happened last night? Irma asked as they ate breakfast. Will was being bad and Naruto punished her, Elian said with a smirk as she rubbed her thighs together shivering as she remembered the pleasure she felt from last night. Isn't that normal for Will? Hey Lin asked getting some laughs from the others. Yeah laugh it up, Will said with a smirk as she enjoyed it when Naruto punished her. Hope you guys like our newest destination, Naruto asked them with a smirk. Where are we? Terane asked curiously. Nowhere special, just Rome, Naruto said as the girls scream in excitement, especially Cornelia, as Rome was famous for her favorite thing, shoes. Later. Naruto was currently enjoying eating some gelato after a few hours of shopping. Man, this stuff is amazing, Hey Lin said as she liked sweet things and gelato was amazing. Where to next? Naruto asked as he wondered what they wanted to see in Rome. Oh, the Colosseum, Cornelia said as she liked the gladiator fights she saw on TV, thinking they were cool. Oh, sounds interesting, Terene said, wanting to see the historical site. Well, I'm gonna get some souvenirs, Will said as she and the others went to get souvenirs. Heatherfield. Let's go in and grab him, B said as he was growing anxious as Naruto was gonna be back in a few weeks and if Hunter wasn't in tip-top shape he'd kill them. They tracked his location to an old abandoned building. Yeah, just one thing to do, Oryup said as she made a call to the police about this location. Later inside. Mr. V, we got cops incoming, a thug said to the man in charge. Good to have people in high places, Mr. V said as he had contacts in certain areas of the law to inform him of anything or anyone plotting against him. Kill the dogs and take off, he said carelessly, having no regard for the imprisoned animals. Hunter understood what the man said and began to panic and started clawing at the cage he was trapped in, not willing to give up like his MSTR. His determination allowed him to draw on his power. Stop being a pain, you mutt, a thug said as he kicked the cage Hunter was in. Hunter began to grow as his body changed like it did when he first transformed, and soon he broke out of the cage glaring at his captors. Good luck, boys, Mr. V said, walking away, not really caring what happened to them. Later. Hunter, calm down boy, Oryup said as she and B just arrived in disguise so they wouldn't be recognized. When they got inside they saw Hunter having some BLD stain his fur as he bit into multiple thugs, even throwing one out the window. It's us boy, B said as he knew he and Hunter didn't get along. He knew that the dog would recognize him. Hunter glared at them having bloody red eyes as he had been dehydrated and was given minimal amounts of dirty water and was starved and teased with food in his cage. Hunter, it's us, we won't hurt you, Oryup said, slowly approaching him as he growled at her. Hunter's growling soon began to lessen as he recognized B and Oryup. Say goodnight, mutt, a thug said, pulling a gun out firing at Hunter. B didn't have time to think it. He engulfed his body in lightning and dashed toward Hunter, pushing him out the way, the bullet going right through his arm. Oryup saw the bullet hole in B's arm, then saw nothing but red as she then pounced on the thug, beating him harshly. They soon heard sirens and left while also unlocking all the cages, letting all the animals out. Later. I swear you are so reckless, Oryup said as she bandaged B's arm. So I've been told, B said with a smirk. So what do we do with him? He asked, looking at the transformed Hunter. We need to find out how he changed in the first place, Oryup said as Hunter got up and walked them to a section in the library and pulled out a book with his teeth. What is this? Oryup said as she examined the book, seeing it was magic in origin. Those are seals, B said as he saw the seals along the edges. Naruto must have placed them there, he thought, seeing as that was the most plausible explanation. I'm gonna call Naruto, he said, seeing if he could get some information. Later with Naruto. That thing. Listen, be careful, that thing is seriously unstable, Naruto said as when he bought the bookstore he checked each book to make sure they weren't magical like the book that teleported them to the library in Meridian. He found a book that had unstable elemental energy and decided to seal its context. I reinforced it with sage chakra, so we should be good. Why do you ask? He asked, curious as to how they found the book in the library. With Oryup. No reason, Oryup said as she took the phone from B earlier as she watched B and Hunter fight. So you're a sage puppy now, huh? B said jokingly before Hunter bit him. They were interrupted as the element symbol for Earth soon glowed on the book. With Naruto. Wonder why she needed to know about that CRP book, Naruto thought, wondering curiously about the book he sealed a long time ago. Wonder if it has anything to do with these things me and the girls have been fighting, he thought curiously, as the book may have possessed other qualities he may not have been unaware of. Man, could you imagine fighting here? Terene said as they were dead center in the ring of a coliseum. I can, Naruto said as it sounded kinda cool to fight other people with nothing but your own skill or fight lions or other dangerous acts. How about you dress up as a gladiator? They wore next to nothing, Cornelia asked flirtatiously as a bunch of earth started moving unknown to the three. Stones soon to gather and build up forming a stone lion 3 times the size of a regular lion as it soon started walking into the stadium getting everyone's attention. The 3 of them thought as they saw the lion approach them. Really gotta see if that book is F with me, Naruto said mumbling to himself as with the elementals he fought previously he was curious if the book was linked. Do you girls think you can fight this thing? He asked as he was limited as they were at a Colosseum and luckily enough it was empty but any huge explosion or quake would draw a lot of unwanted attention. Well, we're in our normal form so maybe, Terane said weighing their odds. Screw that, I say bring it on, Cornelia said thinking this would be fun. The stone lion stalked them like prey and when it looked at them it pounced. I always wanted to do this, Naruto said as he summoned his red and black sage cloak. Come on litter box, he said waving his sage cloak. The stone lion charged toward Naruto and when it made contact Naruto burst into smoke and the sage cloak was wrapped around the lion's face and when it removed the cloak from its face it was bombarded with fireballs and as soon as they dissipated Cornelia got in close and punched it in its face making some cracks appear. Any ideas how to kill this thing? Cornelia asked curiously as the way they were approaching this wasn't doing much. Well, we could do something I read on Greek mythology, Naruto said suggesting something he read when he got interested in the topic when Terane did a paper on the subject. I'm all ears, Cornelia said as the stone lion stared them down. Hey Terane, remember the Nemean lion? Naruto asked the fire guardian. The one Hercules slew, yeah, Terane said as she remembered the details of the story. Wanna fill me in? Cornelia asked not aware of the moment in history they were talking about. Think you can crush that thing with your hands? Naruto asked wondering if she was strong enough. Cornelia thought for a moment as she hadn't really used her super strength in a fight in her human form and she assumed her strength was a quarter of her guardian strength or even half strength. If she applied magic and chakra she could reach half strength, yeah, she said having confidence in herself. The stone lion pounced toward Naruto. Well, this makes things easier, Naruto as he made clones and grabbed the stone lion's front paws. Do your thing, Cornelia, he said as he felt the stone creature trying to shake him off. You got it, Cornelia said as she jumped behind it and wrapped her arms around its neck like a chokehold and started squeezing its neck as hard as she could and soon as it struggled its face began to crack and soon its head broke off as it and its body crumbled to dust. Those gladiators must have been real good, Naruto said a little tired from the physical confrontation with the stone lion. You get all the shoes you want, he said to Cornelia who screamed in excitement. Terane pouts getting Naruto's attention. I'll get you stuff too, Naruto said as even though Terane liked to shop she liked things that were challenging. Later. Terane was currently in her room reading a book Naruto got her and was curious when Cornelia walked in wearing a black corset, black revealing panties, black mesh stocking, and black heels. What's up Cornelia? She asked wondering what she needed as she checked her out admiring her figure. Nothing much, I'm feeling frisky, Cornelia said as she walked up to Terane grabbing her peach squeezing it as she began making out with Terane causing her to drop her book. Hope you know what you're in for Cornelia, Terane thought talking to Cornelia mentally remembering how this went last time. Oh I know, Cornelia thought as she then started to show Terane many graphic SXL mental images of her being dominated by her. Terane in her stunned state was unaware that Cornelia ripped her clothes off exposing her NDE body. I got you an outfit so we can give our man a little show, Cornelia said showing Terane a red version of her outfit. Terane put on an outfit and saw that it was a little tight on her body especially on her peach. I can see why Naruto likes your peach so much, Cornelia said liking her lips as she was about to spank it before Terane stopped her by grabbing her hand. Remember Cornelia you have to earn it, Terane said as she was far from easy. Cornelia pushed Terane onto her bed as they began making out, she then went down and moved Terane's panties aside and began to eat her out. Oh, you're doing great, Cornelia, Terene said, enjoying Cornelia's service. Her mouth is good for something at least, she thought to herself, thinking Cornelia talked a lot. Glad I'm not disappointing, Cornelia said as she parted from Terene's lower lips and then continued to eat her out, causing Terene to scream out in pleasure as she leaked. Terene roughly grabbed Cornelia's melons. I want a taste, she said, eating on Cornelia's melons. Such a good girl, Cornelia said with a smirk as she manipulated some vines and surprised Terene as they restrained her. It's time to make you submit to me, Terene, she said, placing Terene on her lap. Oh please, I'm not easy to dominate, Cornelia, Terene said with a smirk which soon disappeared as Cornelia spanked her with her incredible strength, making her tear up a bit. Like that, huh? Cornelia asked with a smirk. Terene looked at her, panting defiantly, not willing to submit just yet. Answer me when I'm talking to you, SLT, Cornelia said, spanking her again. Terene shook her head defiantly. Cornelia spanked both Terene's peach cheeks harshly, causing the fire guardian to leak hard. Please do that again, Terene said beggingly with tears as she loved the harsh stinging sensation in her peach. You know what it'll cost you, Cornelia said with a smirk as she groped Terene's peach. Terene trembled as her PP poured out juices. All right, you win, I submit, she said as she submitted to Cornelia. Good, now eat me out, SLT, Cornelia said, ordering Terene as she undid her bindings. Terene did as instructed and ate out Cornelia, liking her PP with great haste. Such a good pet, Cornelia said, patting Terene's head. Why don't you call me MSTR like a good little bee, she said, spanking Terene's peach. Yo, Naruto said, walking in seeing both girls in their current attire. Why wasn't I invited earlier? He asked, a little annoyed. Let's fix that, Cornelia said as she and Terene helped him out of his clothes as they kissed his chest, getting down on their knees and began to kiss his PP in worship, savoring the taste. I love my life, Naruto said with a smile, causing the other two to smile. Let's show him what we can do, Terene, Cornelia said as she whispered something into Terene's ear, as they then began to take turns taking his PP into their mouths, and after a while he coats them in his seed. After he was done coming, they started liking each other clean. You girls still up for more? Naruto asked with a smirk. I finally got her to submit, help me break her in, Cornelia said, whispering into Naruto's ear. Terene, come here and ride him like the bee in heat you are, she said, pushing Naruto down on the bed. She smirked as Terene did as instructed. As she looked through Terene's closet and found her SEC toys at the bottom, she took a strap-on and a pair of HNDCFFS. She looked at Terene and smiled as she saw her bouncing on and off Naruto's PP as he groped and spanked her peach. God, I love you, Terene said as she had a very pleasured look on her face as she drooled. Naruto spanked her even harder than before, making her peach shine bright red. He then noticed Cornelia stealthily approach Terene from behind wearing a strap-on. I'm gonna enjoy this, Cornelia said, whispering into Terene's ear as she shoved the strap-on into her peach. Terene tensed from the suddenness of the strap-on entering her peach. Be a good girl, Cornelia said, liking Terene's neck as she began thrusting into her. Oh my god, Terene said out loud. You like this, don't you? Cornelia asked Terene. Yes, I love it, I love being used like a SLT, Terene said as her PP poured out juices from being penetrated in both her holes. She's the tightest she's ever been, Naruto thought as he restrains himself from coming. He began eating on her sensitive tips. Terene's eyes rolled back into her head as she screamed loudly as she climaxed alongside Naruto and soon passed out, but not before Naruto and Cornelia kissed her cheeks. Your turn now, Cornelia, Naruto said with the HNDCFFS she had between his fingers. Cornelia smirks and turned around, having her hands behind her back as Naruto put the HNDCFFS on her. You gonna make me your prey, Foxy? She asked teasingly. Naruto growled a little. Bend over, you SLT, he said as she raised her lower body as she lied face down on the bed, exposing both her holes. Naruto grabbed a nearby VBRTR and shoved it inside Cornelia's PP and turned it on high as he shoved his PP inside her peach, causing Cornelia to in pleasure. Give me everything you got, Cornelia said beggingly, wanting him to treat her as his property and do whatever he wished to it. Naruto grabbed her head and pulled her into a rather rough and primal kiss. I love being helpless to him, Cornelia thought happily, even though she knew she couldn't do a thing to stop it, not that she'd want to. Naruto grabbed her melons, roughly squeezing them. Look at you with your giant tips, you love being my where, don't you? He asked, pinching both her tips as he thrust it into her. Yes. I love being your cum dumpster. Cornelia yelled in pleasure. God, I love when you submit, Naruto said, increasing his move as he felt like he was gonna leak. I'm gonna leak. Cornelia said, panting as she felt like she was at the end of her rope. Me too, Naruto said as he started eating her neck, hoping to leave a mark on her as they both climaxed and went to sleep with Terane. With Hunter. Hunter was sticking his head in the water as he stood above it, full of curiosity, as he never thought he could do this until B showed him. He's really enjoying that trick, Oryub said on the porch next to B. It slowly goes away after a few days, B said as he trained Hunter in some basic ninja skills, hoping it would assist in him gaining control over his powers. You got pretty emotional when that guy shot me, he said teasingly. It's because I care about you, Peach, Oryub said, muttering under her breath. B gained a look of surprise as she said that, then genuinely smiled. I like you too, he said, causing her to blush as she decided to just hug his arm, having a small smirk. Ship. So where to next? Terane asked as they all relaxed on deck. Rio, Naruto said nonchalantly. Rio, Terane said excitedly, as Rio has always been a place she wanted to visit for its exotic culture. All in favor of our man in a speedo say aye, Irma said with a wicked perverted grin. All the girls there said, giving Naruto a perverted look. Nay, Naruto said, feeling a little uncomfortable. Put it on, they yelled, holding a black speedo that came out of nowhere. How about hell no, Naruto said, activating his Rinnegan. Hell yes, the girls said, glaring at him to do it. Run you idiot run, Kurama yelled to Naruto mentally. Naruto decided to take Kurama's advice and ran. You can run but you can't hide. Will yelled as they gave chase. Later at the Rio Grande Nature Center State Park. This place is amazing, Elian said, taking in the beauty of nature along with the sights and sounds. And look what I brought you, Naruto said, taking out Elian's sketchbook. You're the best, Elian said, then looked at Naruto weirdly for a moment. What? Naruto asked before he looked up and saw an orange bird on his head. This has never happened before, he thought, as this has happened before, but usually in sage mode, not in his natural state. How you doing, little guy? He asked as it jumped on his shoulder, nuzzling into his neck. Elian said, finding this adorable. Oh, hold still, let me draw this, she said, immediately begging to draw Naruto and his bird companion. Naruto smiled as Elian enjoyed herself, then became nervous as a flock of birds of various colors began to approach him. SHT, he thought, knowing what would happen as they all got on top of him. At least they haven't shitted on me, he thought, glad about that fact. Elian just smiled as she was amazed by how animals acted around her boyfriend. Later. I thought you'd find this boring, Naruto said as he and Hei Lin were hang gliding. Nah, I mean look at the sights, Hei Lin said as she looked at the sight, enjoying the activity even though she could fly. Naruto smiled as he always enjoyed her positivity and soon saw the first orange bird from before flying beside them. I swear this bird is crazy, he thought as he enjoyed animals' company, but this was clingy. He's cute, Hei Lin said, seeing the orange bird. Kandrakar. Oryub was on her way out of the temple as she had just reported to the oracle but was stopped by Luba. We need to talk, my pupil, Luba said seriously. What is it, MSTR? Oryub said, feeling slightly uncomfortable about her MSTR's presence. You've grown rather attached to the mumbling idiot, Luba said, referring to B. I do not approve, she said, not noticing Oryub clench her fists. Now what about the other one, the fox child? Luba asked, referring to Naruto, making Oryub's temper begin to rise. I told the oracle all there is to know, there is nothing else to tell, Oryub said, trying to calm down. Luba began to growl from the lack of any useful information she could use against the Jinchuriki. He's obviously hiding something, she said in frustration, and you've been distracted by that idiot, she said. I trained you to be the perfect warrior of Kandrakar, she said furiously. Shut up. Oryub said angrily, I am not your pawn, I am human. You see only darkness and evil in others, but why not look at yourself, she said, walking away. Luba became enraged as Oryub walked away. I agree with her, Luba, the oracle said in a displeased tone, frowning at her in disappointment. It's unbecoming of a council member to act in such a way. Be wary of your actions, Luba, he said warningly. Luba became enraged at the disrespect she was receiving. She approaches the room for the Oromirs and continued her study in their change, as she had been planning to siphon the Oromirs' power for a long time, and when she tried to siphon them she found that 4 of the Oromirs, for earth, water, air, and fire, had seen a trail of magic leading outside the temple to 4 different mountain locations. Interesting, she said with a smirk. With B. Okay, let's see if I have this right, B said, examining the seals on the book, attempting to repair the seal and stop its randomness. God damn, this seal is complex, he thought, amazed and cursing Naruto's seal design around the book. He applied a seal to the seal array, hoping it would repair it, and after a few moments of calm nothingness the book seemed to go out of control, the symbols for water and wind shining brightly. B thought, not liking as the light died down and saw Oryub show up via fold. You're taking me on a date, Oryub said, walking past him. That was sudden, B thought, not really complaining. Now, Oryub yelled from the distance. With Naruto. Naruto was currently sitting on a surfboard enjoying the waves, watching with a semi-pervy grin as the girls played volleyball. Unknown to Naruto, a very large deadly serpent-like creature swam under him. It moved its tail in position behind Naruto and wrapped it around his neck, pulling him down. The F is this, Naruto thought, not feeling anything, and was perplexed as the water felt solid and untangible as well. F this, he thought, sending a low level of lightning chakra through the water, shocking the creature, making retreat, allowing him to rise to the surface to breath. When he looked at beach with the girls he saw what appeared to be a sandstorm. With the girls. The F is this? Irma yelled through the strong wind blowing past them. Hold on. Hey, Lin yelled as she created a dome around them, keeping the air around them normal and preventing the violent winds from blowing at them. Girls, you see that? Cornelia said as they saw a silhouette through the sandy wind. Is that a lion? She asked, having already dealt with on previously, making out its feline body. No, it's a bird, Will said as she saw the head of a bird and wings. Why do those two things together sound so familiar? Terane thought, knowing she heard of something like that before. The silhouette began to approach, and soon a bird-like claw came and attacked the dome. Thank God Naruto rented out this part of the beach, Will thought, holding up the heart, transforming the girls into their guardian forms. Elian felt frustrated as she left most of her power with the clone watching over Meridian. The creature soon came out. The sandstorm dying down revealed a torrent of violently rotating wind in the shape of a griffin. This can't get any worse, Will thought, until Naruto crashed beside them and a giant serpent made of water raised from the ocean. 2 in 1 day. You guys wanna trade? I like my odds against your thing better, Naruto said, as these elements were dangerous to fight, as one could take any shape and trap its opponent while the other could rip anything that came in contact to shreds. The creatures soon made eye contact with one another, and instead of acting violently to one another they turned their focus on the group working in tandem. OSHT, Naruto thought, as it was one thing fighting them separately but together made them more dangerous. The water serpent approached the wind griffin and wrapped itself around it, turning the griffin into solid ice and its tail transforming into a snake. On a scale of 1 to 10, how F are we? Elian asked Naruto curiously. 20, Naruto said, as they were extra F, as the combined creature had tactical advantage with the terrain, and the damage the combined element could do made it even more of a threat. Let me see if I can hold this thing still, Irma said, manipulating the water in the ice, keeping it in place. Let's see if this still works, Will said, as she knew lightning beat water on the elemental CYCL and zapped it, making it roar out in pain. Fire beats ice, Terane said, blasting it with a torrent of flames. Cornelia said nothing as she punched the creature, sending it flying. As the creature was airborne, Lin got close, and when she made contact with it she created a vortex around her arms and it began to rip the creature apart, causing it to snow on the beach. Well, this was fun, Naruto said, enjoying the snow. great work girls, he said as he then pulled Elian to the side. What the hell happened, he asked, referring her lack of involvement. Elian soon explained to him she left a clone in Meridian, making Naruto look at her in shock. Elian, have you gone insane? All those memories from a clone existing for so long is incredibly dangerous, the mental stress alone, Naruto said in worry as they have been gone for a little over a month. Look, I'm heading back home real quick to fix something, he said, focusing his chakra for such a long distance teleportation. Come back soon, we are going to a party, Irma said excitedly. Heatherfield. Thank God, Naruto thought as he teleported home and resealed the book. He looked around and found a note with some surprising news. Naruto, Oyub and I are getting married later bro, the note written by B said. Good for them, Naruto said as it was always cat and mouse with them, then noticed more writing. Also Hunter was affected by the book, it said, making him curious. Hunter, he called out, hoping his canine friend would answer. Fast approaching steps got closer and closer to him and then tackled by what he could guess was Hunter. Wow boy, you got big, Naruto said, examining the large pup. He's got a little more sage chakra in his body than it could handle, he thought as Hunter was taking in a little bit more sage chakra than he could handle. A little pissed B left him alone, he thought as he wondered how Hunter was surviving, and soon saw along with a change in his physical appearance he seemed smarter as he served himself some food. Me and the girls will be home soon, don't burn this place to the ground, he said as Hunter gave him a snort in response. Later. Cheers, the group said, all drinking shots of bourbon as people celebrated, danced, and drank all around them. I swear these are my people, Irma said as people who always partied seemed like her kinda lifestyle. I love Rio, Terene said in a very RTC and revealing orange and black Rio dancer outfit which barely hid her melons and lower body, very drunk. I'm surprised you're not killing everyone here, Elian asked with a slight buzz as she knew Naruto was protective of them and most of the guys were staring at Terene. Give it a second, Naruto said, taking a sip of his bourbon as a bunch of guys began running to the bathroom as he slipped all the guys staring at Terene laxatives. He then approached his tipsy girlfriend and made out with her in front of everyone, staking his claim. You girls up for an org? Terene asked the other girls, mentally feeling frisky as she grinded against Naruto. You're drunk, Hey Lin thought, to her in the same boat as her. Let's make it a movie, Irma thought as she was doing a handstand on a keg as she drank its contents. I'm in, Cornelia thought as she prepared a knocker shot for Naruto, a shot between her cleavage. I'm game, Will thought nonchalantly. I'm already ready, Elian thought, primed and ready. Play Cici naughty beachy Mitada young. Later on the ship. Naruto was inside the ship in a large room. Sitting in a chair waiting for the girls who were behind a curtain, and between him and the curtain was 6 strpr poles. Hope you're ready, Naruto, Will said from behind a curtain and soon came out wearing a maid outfit which consisted of black stiletto heels, black mesh stockings, a one-piece short maid dress. How may I serve you, Mstr, she said, bowing a little, her eyes never leaving Naruto as she wanted to expose a little cleavage. Here I come babe, Irma said, walking out wearing a skin-tight zip-up t-shirt that was zipped midway exposing her bust, extremely short tight peach shorts with a pair of HNDCFFS, knee-high heels, a police hat, and a pair of aviator glasses. You have the right to remain Cici babe, she said, cupping her melons. Feast your eyes lover, Terene said, coming out wearing an orange HRM girl outfit which consisted of see-through pants that exposed her panties, arm bands, a BR with jewelry hanging from it, and an orange see-through mesh veil. I live to serve your every need, she said, putting much emphasis on the to need. Okay Foxy, prepare to be amazed, Cornelia said, coming out in a black full-body LTX catsuit that had a tail, cat ears, and heeled boots. The catsuit did little to hide her irked tips or her curvy body. Meow, she said Cecily, twirling her tail around. I'm ready to be your prey, Hey Lin said, walking out in bunny suit wearing fishnet stockings and heels exposing her SNSL legs, a black one-piece showing off her bust and curves, and bunny ears and tail. I'm ready to be devoured, she said with a lustful look. How you doing sensei? Elian said, wearing a white see-through CRP top, a plaid skirt that didn't cover anything and exposed her small white panties, white stockings, and white high heels. Hope you can teach me something, she said, licking her lips saltly. Naruto became irked very instantly seeing the women he loved dressed very erotically. Time to even out the odds, he said seeing he was outnumbered and made clones of himself. Will was currently on her knees servicing two Narutos eating them both taking their pee into her mouth one at a time. Try harder my little maid, Naruto 1 said making Will try and deep throat them. Will hummed pleasantly as she felt a third Naruto rub his pee against her peach. She moved her panties aside. Please mstr use you filthy little maid however you like, she said shaking her as a little before going back to SCK Naruto 1 and 2. The third Naruto positioned his pee with Will's peach and entered it with one rough move then grabbed the top part of her dress exposing her melons. Will let go of the two Naruto's pee in her mouth in shock with her tongue hanging out. That's right masters use your wear of a maid, she giving Naruto 1 and 2 handjobs. The two Narutos soon leaked on her face while the third continued to move into her peach. I love my life, Will said happily liking her lips liking the juice off her lips. Irma smirked as both her hands were handcuffed to a rope connected to the roof of the ship and saw two naked Narutos both very irked in front of her. You two can get into some real trouble for assaulting a cop, she said shaking her bust. Not as much trouble as you're in, Naruto 1 said coming face to face with Irma. But it'll be much more enjoyable for you, Naruto 2 said getting behind her and ripped off her short shorts exposing her pee and peach then proceeded to spank her peach. So who's first? Irma asked literally wet with anticipation. Easy both of us, Naruto 1 said as he plunged his pee into her pee while Naruto 2 did the same with her peach. Irma screamed in pure pleasure loving the fact that a pair of the pee she loved were thrusting into both her holes. Naruto 1 then began to French kiss her as Naruto 2 ate on her neck and spanked both her peach cheeks as he wrecked her. Come on boys I know you got more than this this dirty salty cop B, she said with a smirk. Both Narutos applied chakra to their pee increasing the pleasure Irma was receiving. That's it this was what I wanted. Irma said screaming in pleasure sounding like a SLT. Terane. How may I service you masters? Terane said awaiting for one of them to give her an order. Dance for us, Naruto 1 of 2 said. STRP2, Naruto 2 said as they watched Terane with predatory look. Terane did as instructed and approached the pole doing a flip as she grabbed onto the pole being upside down and spread her legs and began doing RTC poses and positions almost like a professional STRPR. The Narutos enjoyed the show especially when she STRPP'd everything but her veil off. Come to me my pet, he said to Terane as she got off the pole removed her veil and began crawling to the three Narutos taking her role as a pet seriously and began to blow them. Naruto 1 laid on the ground as Terane mounted him putting his pee into her pee while Naruto 2 put his pee in her mouth as she jumped on and off Naruto 1 pee while eating Naruto 2 off. They F her roughly and thoroughly and soon Naruto 2 grabbed the back off Terane's head making her deep throat him as he emptied the contents of his ball down her throat just as Naruto 1 leaked in her pee filling up her WMB. Cornelia. Now boys, Cornelia said grabbing both Naruto's cocks jerking them off, I want to be F not gently but roughly F me as hard as you can till I'm nothing but a drooling mess stuffed with your seed, she said with a smirk on her face. Both Narutos ripped her LTX off exposing her privates and soon did as she asked and surprised Cornelia as they both penetrated her pee and peach. Oh F, Cornelia thought never expecting this, you're gonna break me, she screamed in pleasure. What aren't you tough enough? Naruto 1 said teasingly. Cornelia glared at Naruto 1 for his taunt, oh it's on you wanna try and break me then F do it, she said soon not caring if these Narutos broke her or if she won she'd still be secularly satisfied meaning she still won. They F her roughly for a while one latching onto one of her tips and the other nibbling on her ear and soon both leaked inside her making their juices flow out of her as she couldn't contain it all in her pee and peach. Come on boys I haven't leaked yet I'm nowhere near satisfied. Cornelia said having a crazed look in her eyes. I love these crazy girls both Narutos thought as they got to work on Cornelia. Hey Lin. Hey Lin approached 5 Narutos with a smirk as she ripped open a hole in the bottom of her one piece exposing her pee and the top exposing her melons. I want to be stuffed with your juice, she said as she waited expectantly. Each Naruto went up to Lin. Naruto 1 laid on the ground as Lin laid on his chest and he entered her peach. Naruto 2 got on top of Lin and thrusted into her PP. Naruto 3 and 4 got on Lin's sides, her hands grabbing their PP, and Naruto 5 approached her face and thrusted into her mouth. Lin had a bright blush on her face, humming in pleasure as she was being F on all fronts. The Narutos increased their move and sent chakra to their PP, making Lin squeal out in joy, crying from the pleasure as her eyes slightly rolled back as she climaxed as the Narutos placed her down on her knees and showered her in their juice and watched her collect it all, even liking the juice on the floor, and when it was all gone she looked at them hungrily. "I want more," she said seriously. "Well then I guess we'll have to go all out," a Naruto said as they approached Lin. "I'm gonna die from pleasure," Lin thought, letting out a joyful shiver. "Elyin. What's the matter, sensei?" Elyin said, acting innocent in front of 2 Narutos. "I'm here to punish you, Elyin," Naruto 1 said sternly. "You've abused the clone technique I taught you, now you must suffer the consequences," Naruto 2 said to her. "Oh, and what is my punishment?" Elyin asked, acting smug, until Naruto 1 roughly grabbed her face and placed a ring GG in her mouth and bound her hands with rope behind her back and forced her to the face to the ground and her peach raised. "We're gonna punish you until we're sure you're sorry," Naruto 2 said, rubbing his PP between her panty-covered PP. F this, Elyin thought, wanting to get pounded, but was soon brought out of her thoughts as Naruto 1 slapped his PP in her face, getting her attention. "I bet you want this," Naruto 1 said as he waved his PP in front of her. Elyin nodded. Despite her position she tried to reach it, putting her tongue through the ring GG, and just as she was about to taste it with the tip of her tongue, Naruto 2 gripped her hair, pulling her head back. "You aren't getting any release till you learn," Naruto 2 said, whispering into her ear. Elyin struggled, trying to free herself as she wanted desperately to get F. "You are one stubborn corny bee, aren't you?" Naruto 1 said, seeing her tear up a little from not getting pleasure. "Are you ready to be a good girl?" Naruto 2 asked as he couldn't stand the tears of a person he loved. Elyin nodded as Naruto 2 grabbed her bindings and raised her upper half slightly with her still on her knees. "Enjoy," Naruto 1 said, thrusting into her mouth, aligning with the ring GG. "'Cause I will," Naruto 2 said as he ripped her panties and began pounding her PP. Elyin enjoying the pleasure she was receiving. Later, as Naruto and the girls lay unconscious on a bed, they didn't see a clone of a certain water guardian holding a hand-held camera recording the long graphic org. Next morning, Naruto yelled, making the girls groan as they also woke up, all of them suffering headaches as they all consumed a large amount of alcohol. The F happened. Will said, her head feeling heavier than usual and her insiders burning. "I might have an idea," Irma said as she learned to manipulate the water in her body, increasing her healing, and boy was it fun, she said, slightly feeling pain in her head. "What's this?" Lin said as she saw a DVD taped to the wall. "Come on, there's a DVD player in the lounge of the ship," Terane said as they all walked to the lounge naked as the day they were born. As soon as the DVD played, the girls blushed in embarrassment and couldn't take their eyes away as they watched it with carnal fascination. "Cat lady, really?" Irma asked Cornelia with a sly smirk. "Like a cop is so much better," Cornelia said in retort. "Salty cop," Terane said, correcting Cornelia. "DMN right," Irma said proudly. "I want lessons," Will said as she saw Terane dancing on STRPR pole in the video. "Ditto," the other girls said with a smirk. "Will as a made you look like a total wear," Elyin said honestly as she saw how Will looked. "Only for Naruto," Will said, winking at him, "and you looked like a total SLT in that schoolgirl outfit," she's sending her a wink. "I know I'm Naruto's SLT though," Elyin said, sending him a lustful look. They all watched Lin taking on multiple Narutos in the video, making said guardian blush an atomic red color, seeing herself get gang-banged by her blonde lover. "Whoa," Irma and Cornelia said in a combination of being surprised, impressed, and lustful. "I don't think we can beat that," Terane said with a smile as she was impressed, yet she thought as she wouldn't give up to Lin's salty display. It's not bad, Elian said, trying to comfort the embarrassed Wind Guardian. I'm actually impressed, she thought, never thinking Hei Lin had it in her. Cover me in your juice. Shower me in it. Then fill all my holes with it, the Hei Lin in the video said, making Hei Lin blush. Naruto became irked as he watched this and turned off the TV. Who's up for round 2? He asked as all the girls rushed him. Naruto's house. I thought you were with us, Irma said as Hunter ran to them as they got inside and they saw his rather huge transformation. Nope, sage puppy, Naruto said as he examined Hunter whenever he could, as his sage power may have lasted longer than his own, but he needed to recharge as he stored it in his body and slowly released it whenever he grew and lost more whenever he did anything strenuous. He looks like an Asian painting, Hei Lin said as Hunter looked somewhat tribal with his grown-up form. It makes him look more defined, Terane said, examining him. Well, as cool as he looks, we gotta get home, Will said as they all missed their families while they were away. Yeah, and it's the last month of summer and we all have family trips, Cornelia said as all their families planned trips for the summer. What? Elian yelled as she had a piece of paper in her hands. What's the big OSHT? Naruto was thinking, realizing it was B's note. They got married? The girls shouted in surprise. I win, pay up, Hei Lin said, remembering the bet she and the others made before leaving on vacation. Week later. You sure this is gonna work? Naruto thought mentally as he was talking to Kurama. Positive the summoning jutsu is a space-time technique. I find it highly unlikely that you shouldn't be able to summon the one toad we need to do what we need to do. It may require a bit of extra chakra, Kurama said to Naruto as they needed the key to the seal from the toad. I will assist you as you've met the toad once, but I still to this day remember his chakra, so I will lock onto him, he said as he remembered the toad Minato summoned for when he sealed him into Naruto. Alright, summoning jutsu, Naruto said as he bit his thumb and performed the hand signs, slamming his hand to the ground, and soon the toad appeared. Naruto, the orange and blue toad said in surprise, where have you been? You've been gone almost 2 months, he said, getting Naruto's and Kurama's attention. The hell? Naruto thought for a moment, not understanding how that was possible as he was here almost a full year. The Oracle didn't know anything of our world, and time zones of each world from what we learned is different. It may be possible our world is so far from this one, the time apart from each may be different, meaning our year here equals 2 months, Kurama said to him, mentally curious about them as well. If a proper connection was made with our world, the time lap may be fixed or shortened, he said as he had only limited knowledge in this field but learned a little more as he watched Naruto work on his sealing ability. Do you think me summoning the toad did anything? Naruto asked Kurama. Not a chance, you'd need a lot more power for that, like the portal you came through, Kurama said as the summoning jutsu was a very simple space-time ninjutsu and wouldn't have caused any change in the time lap. Naruto merely sighed as this would need to be discussed later. I need the key, he said to the toad, who looked at him seriously. Are you ready? The toad asked as he had no real way to deny him as Jiraiya signed over ownership of the key to Naruto. I hope, Naruto said as those were the last words he said as the toad jumped into his mouth and climbed down his throat. OSHT, he thought as he swallowed the toad, desperately wanting mouthwash. With Will. This is so weird, Will said as she was in a museum with Naruto, her mom, and Professor Collins. I swear this is like the most awkward double date ever, she said as the weirdness never faded in this. It's not so bad, Naruto said as he was learning a lot and most of the stuff Collins seemed to know about. He was just a clone as the real Naruto switched to be with each girl daily, and right now the original was with Elian. You're right, it's worse, Will said as this made her feel so awkward. Well, just be glad she's happy, Naruto said as that was the most anyone in this type of situation could get out of something like this. With Irma. You got this, Chris, Irma cheered as she and Naruto were teaching him how to surf. So how are you doing? Naruto asked her, sounding a little serious. Irma frowned as she knew what he was referring to as she looked at Chris, now having a sad expression. It still terrifies me that I almost lost him, she said as she had some sleepless nights after what Kisame did to Chris. Thank you, she said to him, because without him her brother would have died or would have to deal with the serious damage to his body Kisame did. Don't, I would have done it in a heartbeat, Naruto said, as Chris was important to Irma and that made him even more important to him as he couldn't bear the thought of any of the women he loved in pain. With Terane. You're not a big fan of nature, are you? Naruto asked Teresa as she was being eaten by mosquitoes as they all walked in Yellowstone, walking along the trail. What was your first clue? Teresa said as she tried swatting the bugs away. Naruto let out a chuckle and decided to throw her a bone and sent out a wave of nature energy, making the flies follow it, sending them away. After a few minutes of silence, Teresa broke the silence. Naruto, I would like to say I'm sorry, she said, swallowing her pride. You've been nothing but polite to my daughter and have been an excellent boyfriend, and I want to apologize for my behavior towards you, she said as she wasn't normally one to apologize. It's fine, Naruto said as he could understand that she was trying to protect Terane as he wanted the same thing. I guess my lifestyle may not seem the most normal, he said as he attracted danger a lot of times, but Terane being a guardian made it so she would be in the line of fire, so he wanted to make sure she and the others were ready for whatever came their way. With Cornelia. I swear this is hilarious, Cornelia said as she and Naruto were currently on the elevator of the Eiffel Tower going down, but they had a third person with them, Lillian, who wouldn't let go of Naruto's leg as she was afraid of heights. I swear I think she's cutting of circulation in my leg, Naruto said as Lillian was gripping tightly. If you're so afraid of heights, why'd you come? Cornelia asked in curiosity and wasn't trying to tease her. Shut up, Lillian said as she was embarrassed as they made it to the bottom. I'll take her, Harold said as he took his daughter. Later. Naruto felt a little awkward as Cornelia's mom invited them both to get coffee at a local cafe, and the look Elizabeth was giving him made him a little nervous. Elizabeth stopped drinking her coffee, showing her smirk. I'm a big fan of your book, Naruto, she said, causing Naruto and Cornelia to do a spit take as they heard this. Mom, I told you that in confidence, Cornelia said, a little embarrassed. I'm sorry, I really wanted to see both your reactions, Elizabeth said, still having her smile. I must say though, Naruto, I'm glad you know so much that my daughter won't be bored, she said, making Naruto and Cornelia blush as they knew she was mentioning the more indecent parts of the books. With Hey Lin. I swear your hydration is amazing, Hey Lin said as she and Naruto did deliveries extremely fast as Naruto had hydration kunai spread throughout Heatherfield and right now they were sitting back and relaxing. I swear this boy is a godsend, Yen Lin said as the restaurant's reputation went up with how fast they delivered. Chen Lin and Joan Lin watched with a smile as they saw their daughter enjoy her summer, as they knew she liked to help around the restaurant ever since she was old enough. He's starting to grow on me, Chen Lin said, surprising his mother and wife as he was always giving Naruto a hard time. About time, Yen Lin said as her son was very stubborn and a little girly if she was being honest. With Elian. You sure you're up for this? Elian asked as she, Naruto, and Trill were about to enter a meditation room. Yeah, you're gonna find out about your parents and I'm gonna have the fight of my life, Naruto said as he was finally gonna have his fight with Kurama. Thanks for being here, B, he said as he wanted be here if the worst happened. It's no problem, but I still don't know how you found us, B said as he was sure he covered his tracks. You used a credit card that was linked to my account, Naruto said as he made the account for B but set it up so he could be made aware of B's purchases. Told you, Oryub said, giving him a kiss on the cheek. Alright, let's go, Naruto said as all four of them went into the room. I hope you're ready, Naruto, B said as everyone kneeled down. I was born ready, Naruto said as he had been mentally preparing for this for a long time. I hope you're right, B thought as he didn't want to lose someone he considered a brother in all but BLD. Naruto's mind. Naruto approached Kurama's cage and floated up to the seal, ripping off the paper, lifted his shirt and the key symbols appeared on right his arm and did a twist on the seal on his stomach seal, and soon the spiral circle on the cage started to recede. I hope you're ready, Naruto, Kurama said as he was going to fight to the full of his ability. Wouldn't be here if I didn't think so, Naruto said as the spiral circle was gone and Kurama forced the cage open, sending out a loud vicious roar. Naruto, B said as he got Naruto's attention as tentacles enveloped Kurama. In order to win this you need to pull the fox's chakra with your own, he said as he did it with one tentacle, pulling out a little of Kurama's chakra. Don't interfere, Kurama said loudly, ripping the tentacles apart, taking in a large chunk of bees and the 8 tails chakra. Let's go, Naruto said, charging toward Kurama, a giant Rasengan in hand, and even though he made contact with Kurama, he only pushed him back a few feet. You'll need to do better than that, Kurama yelled, swatting Naruto away, and charged, then swallowed a tailed beast bomb, then fired multiple blasts at Naruto. DMN, Naruto said, activating his Rinnegan, blocking one of the unavoidable shots with an almighty push. I need to restrain him so I can steal some of his chakra, he thought, as he needed to properly plan this fight out, as he needed to be smart about this fight, as even his own father needed assistance fighting Kurama. You need to fight back if you want my chakra, Kurama said as he unleashed a breath of fire at Naruto. You're right, try this, Naruto said as wood enveloped Kurama's limbs. He's gained control over wood style, Kurama thought, angry and impressed that Naruto gained control over the element that he despised, but felt something was different from this compared to the first Hokage's wood style, as the wood around him felt cold. I see you noticed, Naruto said with a smirk. Wood becomes much harder in the cold, so when I learned how to do wood and ice style I was able to combine it to this, making the wood style that much harder to break, he said as he trained furiously, as he knew wood style was unique and the hardest to MSTR, with only 2 users known in history, and the ice style was more of a sentimental act as it was a way for him to remember Haku. Now take this, he said, creating multiple spears of ice surrounding Kurama and fired them. The brat certainly hasn't slacked off in his training, Kurama thought, feeling a little excited as he never truly had a proper fight before with someone like this, as he was controlled in the fights against Hashirama Senju and Minato Namikaze despite much interference. Now let's go, Naruto yelled, creating an army of clones. That old trick won't work on me, brat, Kurama yelled, doing a quick spin, sending out a strong force of wind, destroying a lot of clones. DMN, he can create that much force, Naruto thought, as the wind from his spin was equivalent to a high wind jutsu. Let's see him handle this, he thought, creating a Rasen Shuriken and threw it at Kurama, sending him flying back. Now's my chance, he thought, grabbing one of Kurama's tails and started pulling chakra from him, a blue line of chakra between them. Not so fast, Kurama said, flooding the chakra line with pure hatred. Now for your true test, Naruto, show me if you can overcome my hatred, he thought, curious if Naruto could overcome this and if his fighting spirit could prevail. Naruto felt so much pain and anguish coursing through him, all of the darkness from his life rushing back into him, all the hopelessness flooding back into him, and just as his eyes slowly began to close he heard something he heard before. We're people who will always love you, Will's voice said, ringing in his mind. Naruto felt his heart become calm with ease as he remembered this, and soon he remembered something he hadn't remembered since he came here. Naruto, I want you to know the day you were born was the happiest day of both mine and your father's, and when we died, leaving you all alone was the hardest, most difficult thing your father ever had to do. We love you so much, his mother's voice clear as day. Naruto felt his mind become certain and clear, and soon all the negative emotions were purged from his body and his body glowed, and soon multiple golden chains shot out of him and struck Kurama. He has chakra chains, Kurama thought in surprise, as Naruto now possessed 3 things that each alone could stop him. I don't know what this is, but whatever works, Naruto said as he smiled, and soon he was in sage mode. If the orange pigmentation around his eyes was anything to go by, and soon produced hundreds of clones. Let's go, he yelled, and soon all the clones charged Kurama, each with a giant Rasengan, sending Kurama back. SHT, Kurama thought as he saw multiple lines of chakra coming from him, and dozens upon dozens of Narutos were holding on to each, while he saw the original charge him with a Rasen Shuriken. Clever BSTRD. He thought, a little impressed, then felt the Rasen Shuriken hit him as the Narutos then started pulling the chakra lines as he was being sent back by the Rasen Shuriken, and soon an orange chakra taking the outline of Kurama was separated from him and went into the real Naruto. Naruto felt an incredible rush as he was lit ablaze with golden chakra covering every inch of his body. He now had symbols and Magatama on his sweatshirt and jacket, his Rinnegan now a natural shade of orange but now having slits. Kurama glared at Naruto, his eyes glowing red, but his angered look faded as he grinned at Naruto. I'm impressed, brat, you won, he said. Impressed, Naruto had once again done the impossible and showed him his potential, which even as a child impressed him, but don't think it'll be easy to mstr my chakra, he said, returning to being serious. Hopefully we can work together mastering it, Naruto said, wanting to improve their relationship as friends. Sounds like a fun challenge, Kurama said, as with Naruto now in the equation their powers combined would take time to mstr. Alright later Kurama, Naruto said, fading out of the seal. Kurama examined the seal as he felt a change within it when Naruto took his power and soon discovered something that shocked him to his core, the 6 paths he thought, coming to one conclusion he didn't think possible, then that means he thought, feeling a little more grateful he was inside Naruto, as this was something of great importance. With Naruto. Yo, B said for lack of words as Naruto entered chakra mode. I know right, Naruto said, deactivating it, and soon their attention was drawn to banging on the door. Phobos coming. Wake up. Blunk yelled, banging on the door. Both B and Naruto looked at each other in surprise. How long were we in here? Naruto said, rushing through the doors with B making it outside, seeing the chaos and havoc. A while, but B was saying till he was interrupted by a blast of water. Hello octopus, Kisame said, glaring at B with a predatory look. Naruto go, I have a score to settle with this fish, B said, as it bothered him that his brother saved him when he was fighting Kisame first time around and now wanted to see who would win. Naruto understood why B wanted to do this, but he hated it as he wanted payback for what Kisame did to Chris. Fine, kick his ass, he said, taking off to help some troops. Heard you got married, Kisame said, making B's blood run cold. I wonder how she'll scream as I slowly rip her apart, he said, making B glare at him with intensity. B was immediately enveloped in 8 Tails chakra, going into chakra cloak. With Naruto. Do you idiots ever take a day off? Naruto said as he was surrounded by the other Knights of Vengeance, but I don't have time for you idiots, he said, going into chakra mode. You think some glowing aura is gonna dash, Frost was saying till Naruto suddenly appeared in front of him, fist in Frost's gut. Whoa, chakra mode really upped my speed, Naruto thought as he dashed to the other Knights of Vengeance with the intent of knocking them out, moving so fast he looked like a wisp. I swear this is so cool, he said, thinking chakra mode was incredible, and then he heard a loud horrified scream from Elian inside the main hall and dashed in there, and when he arrived he saw that Elian was crouching down holding the lifeless body of none other than Allborn Brown, Elian's adoptive father, and he saw Phobos with Allborn's blood on his hands. Don't fret dear sister, you'll see him soon enough, Phobos said with his hand glowing, and he intended to steal his sister's power at long last. He was soon stopped as Naruto grabbed his wrist. Naruto, I was just about to look for you, was all Phobos could say before Naruto started punching him repeatedly in the face, using the one hand holding his wrist to prevent him from being sent back while he used the other to smash into his face repeatedly, and even as he lost consciousness Naruto still kept going. Wake up, Naruto said, yanking his arm out of its socket before he shattered it, forcing Phobos to regain consciousness. Phobos would have fought back with his magic but soon found out he couldn't move and soon saw a seal glowing on his broken arm. You coward. You'd fight a defenseless man, he said, knowing the seal was stopping his powers. I wouldn't talk, you piece of human garbage, Naruto said, punching him in the jaw, knocking out some of his teeth. Now stand down, he said to Phobos' men, his voice full of anger and authority, and when they didn't he stomped on Phobos' leg and broke it. Now, he yelled, channeling a little of Kurama's raw chakra, and they all saw Kurama, who roared at them, making them cower in fear and run away in terror. Elian used her power and sent all the troops to the dungeon. This is not over, Phobos yelled in anger. Naruto pulled out a kunai and pressed it against Phobos' neck. Yeah, it is, and I'm gonna make sure you never do anything like this ever again, he said, glaring at him with intensity. What am I doing? He suddenly thought, wondering why he was dropping to Phobos' level, and dropped him to the ground, causing him to scream as he landed on his broken limbs. No, Elian said, marching over to her immobilized brother, her hands shining brightly. This is new, Naruto thought before getting between Elian and Phobos. Out of my way, Elian said, tears coming down her face as she glared at Naruto. Naruto said nothing as he walked up to her, pulling her into a hug. Elian tried to pull away from the hug but stopped as she soon gave into the comfort it gave her, as she then let out all the pain as she began crying into Naruto's chest. Few days later. Elian stood completely still staring at two grave markers with emotionless eyes as the rain poured down. She had just buried her adoptive father and stared at the graves belonging to her biological parents. I hate you, she thought, feeling so much pain as she learned from Trill. You were both as bad as Phobos, and I lost one of the two who actually loved me, she thought as it killed her inside when she told her adoptive mother what happened. Do you want to say anything? Naruto asked her as this was a hard few days for her. Elian stared at the graves for a few more minutes then walked away with Naruto saying nothing. When they were gone, Narissa Tila transported to the graves. Ah, Waira, so good to see you after so long, she said with a smirk. Your daughter is truly impressive for her age, she said as she and Waira were friends in their youth, but I may have a way to reunite you, she said raising her hand. Quintessence, she said as lighting went from her hand to Waira's grave. Later. Are you alright, Elian? Naruto asked as he was having dinner with her and her mother. I don't know, Elian said as even though she felt her heart ache she felt numb. It will get better, child, I promise, Myriadel said as her eyes betrayed her as they were puffy and red from crying. I hope you know, your highness, your parents truly loved you, Trill said to the young queen who glared at her with intensity. No, that's a lie, only Allborn and Myriadel do. They are just as bad as Phobos, worse even, Elian said as more tears came down her face. That's not true, they did everything to save you and left you that boon, Trill said referring to the necklace around her neck. I don't care, I want nothing to do with them. Elian said, throwing the necklace away. The world seemed to slow down for Naruto as his senses went into overdrive as he detected the immense power from Elian leave her and follow the necklace. Trill caught it and began to laugh, and soon glamour rings went from Trill revealing Narissa. Where's Trill? Elian said, glaring at her, wondering why her powers weren't working as Naruto appeared in front of her in chakra mode. He's gotten even stronger, she thought, impressed by his remarkable power. I'll need that book, she thought as when she couldn't find Naruto or the Guardians, so she had to downplay her hand until they came back, and when she felt a magical disturbance in Heatherfield and when she investigated it she saw a magical book which she then desired. There is no Trill, there never was, Narissa said as she then explained how and why she came to be here as Trill. She's either crazy or a genius, Naruto thought as her plan was of a Nara level standard even though it was very high risk with all the unknown variables at the time of each turning point. So now what? He asked as she even told them about how she stole Elian's power as she forfeited it due to permission magic, a bunch of BS magic, he thought as just the thought of the infinite loopholes in what people said was baffling. Was it a lie? Elian asked, her hands trembling in anger. The memories you showed me, were they a lie? She said as a dim light shined from her hands. Naruto saw the glow and became curious. Narissa stole her magic, how? He thought as he saw Elian use light previously and thought it might have been an element unique to her as she was the heart of Meridian. Yes, and now, Narissa said, raising the necklace up at Elian. Not gonna happen, Naruto said as he had a good idea that she was gonna try and absorb Elian into the heart. And how will dash, Narissa was saying till she stopped and looked at the necklace for a moment and then Tila transported away. Something else was happening here, Naruto thought as Narissa wasn't one to pull such extreme stunts like today without reason, and with Elian without her powers and with them now in Narissa's hands it just got a lot worse, he thought seriously. Later. I didn't think you'd break so easily, Waira, Narissa said as she released said person's soul. My daughter's freedom for me, Waira said as she was the previous container for Meridian's power, the former heart owner. Yes, and since you agreed, your spirit is mine, Narissa said as Waira's pupils became dilated. 2 days later. How is she? Naruto asked Myriadel as he had to deal with the fallout of the attack, helping the injured and attending to the people. The girls came by and tried to cheer her up but to no avail. Still the same, Myriadel said as this was painful for her to see her adoptive daughter seem so lifeless compared to her usually bright personality. Elian was currently lying on her bed staring at nothing in particular, just, I'm so useless, she said as she never knew how much she relied on her power. Why? Naruto asked as he wanted to know the source of her self-loathing. If I took my training seriously I could have stopped this, Elian said as she basically eased her training. Then let's start taking it seriously, Naruto said with a serious look. There's no point, I barely have any power left, Elian said as she only generated a small amount of magic. I have an idea for that, Naruto said as he made her curious. Later. Are you sure he'll say yes? Elian asked a little worried as she just had a small amount of magic and high-level chakra. Probably, Naruto said as they were currently walking in the Infinite City. How will this even work? Elian asked as she didn't even know what Naruto was planning as he just told her he might have a way to get her a new source of power. I have my ways, Naruto said holding up a small clear sphere. The oracle gave me this a while back, he said as this sphere once contained Kurama's raw chakra which helped and resulted in becoming to this world. We're here, he said hearing a loud snoring and soon saw the person he was looking for. Abner, Elian said as she only met him once when they took down Phobos. Yeah, you've had small moments in some recent fights, Naruto said as he saw Elian use light on more than one occasion and he was positive Abner knew as well, and I feel like he'll be more than happy to help, he said as Abner felt closeness to others he could relate to and with Elian having his element he knew he'd jump at the chance. Wake up, he said causing the dragon to stir. Hello my friend, Abner said as he got up. Ah young queen, he said looking at Elian. Abner we need your help, Naruto said explaining Elian's situation. Alright, from what I can gather from the Guardian's current strength this will only require a quarter of my own power, Abner said as he had a good guess of the Guardian's current strength, but she'll need to bind her own power to the Oromir so it will be bound to her like the other Guardians and if you want this Oromir linked to Heart of Kandrakar you need said heart, he said explaining what he believed the process to be. Thank you, Naruto said creating 5 folds on the ceiling making each Guardian to fall out of each portal. Great you're all here, he said as he filled them in on the current situation. Now let's get this show on the road, he said as Will presented the heart and it floated next to the Oromir. Let us begin, Abner said as he cameled his magic into the Oromir lighting up the area around them and the Heart of Kandrakar shooting a pink beam at the Oromir binding them together. As this happened Elian's body shined brightly and as it dimmed down it revealed Elian in a guardian outfit consisting of a teal shoulder midriff top that didn't even bother to cover up her now average DD cup-sized melons and had long sleeves. She was now even Cuvier than before, she had large turquoise and green wings on her back. She also had a very long purple skirt that has a slit on the side which showed just a little bit of her athletic peach that seemed even bigger and covering it was turquoise and green striped tights and also purple heel-like boots. I feel amazing, Elian said fluttering her wings. Abner stared at Elian in surprise from how her appearance was so similar to the other Guardians and saw Naruto give him a look as he knew what he was thinking. Naruto's house. Oryub was currently on the couch reading a book petting Hunter as she read. Hunter leaped out off the couch and started barking. What's wrong Hunter? She asked and then Nerissa appeared but before she could do anything Nerissa zapped her with lightning. Now where is that book? Nerissa asked as she soon found it and before she transported away she felt something tugging her dress and when she looked down she saw Hunter. Adorable, she thought then saw Hunter begin to grow. Interesting, she thought as she created a barrier shielding her as Hunter breathed out a fire attack. She then knocked him out making him small again. I shall take you with me little pup, she thought picking him up. A cave in Meridian. Nerissa had just transported to her cave making a magical cage for Hunter and just as she was going to begin working on the book someone caught her attention. Nerissa, Kisame said as he was battered in cuts, bruises, and had some broken bones. I need you to heal me, he asked in a lot of pain. Oh this is perfect, Nerissa said as she extended her hand lightning coming forth causing Kisame to scream in pain as he soon reverted back to his natural state. What did you do? Kisame asked feeling even worse. I took back the power I gave you along with most of your chakra, Nerissa said as she had intended to do so originally but she had grown to hate Kisame. I even took a piece of his soul, she thought as she needed the knowledge from him to properly use chakra. You'll regret this, Kisame said BLD coming down his mouth as he threw a smoke bomb down and made a break for it. No matter he'll be die anyway, Nerissa said as she knew with his injuries and now no magic and limited chakra he'd have no chance of survival. Later in the castle. How's the other guy doing? Naruto asked B as he had been here recovering as he won his fight with Kisame but suffered a few serious injuries. Don't know but at least I won, B said with a smirk as the fight had finally been settled. That's debatable octopus, Kisame said entering the room from an open window. The F happened to you? Naruto said in surprise as he was surprised Kisame appeared as he didn't sense him but when he saw him he saw all his injuries and how low his chakra was. Narissa, Kisame said breathing heavily, listen brat and listen good that B betrayed me and tried to kill me so I want to give her one final fu before I die, he said as he wouldn't take her betrayal standing down. What? Naruto asked wondering what information he could get from Kisame. Narissa has been spying on you for months everyone you know is a target and Narissa stole my chakra and you know what that means, Kisame said getting Naruto to slightly tense. Meridians and Kisame's chakra, Naruto thought thinking that was bad as Kisame stole a lot of chakra equaling to that of a tailed beast and with the fights he's gotten into with Naruto, B, and the others meant he collected a lot more additional power for both magic and chakra. And you octopus she attacked your wife, Kisame said getting B's full attention, she's still alive from what I know but she stole a book and the kid's mutt, he said as Naruto and B shared a look. Go, Naruto said as he created a fold home which B jumped through, come on Kisame there has to be more, he asked needing more info. She resurrected the spirit of your little princess's mother, Kisame said as he sometimes when he was bored wander the kingdom in a henge and learn things about the land and its history and he once saw a portrait of the former king and queen so he recognized her quickly. Why would she do that, Naruto thought curiously not knowing how to even begin to think about this. Look kid, Kisame said as he saw his vision was fading and knew he was gonna die any second, that B is playing for keeps you need to take any advantage you can even if it means lowering yourself to that B's level, he said as sometimes you had to use the enemy's own tactics against them. Naruto soon knelt down and felt Kisame's body and when he felt no pulse he knew the shark man had passed, it's more than you deserve, he thought picking up Kisame's body. But I'll bury you somewhere you can rest in peace, he thought thinking the bottom of the lake was appropriate. With Narissa. Matt had just finished his date with Mandy and was currently walking home. Hello Matthew, Narissa said appearing before him and grabbed hold of him. Who are Dash, Matt was saying till they were Tila transported away. Kendricker. Soon Naruto Namake's your end is near, Luba said as she opened a very old door and soon a giant shadow fell over Luba as she smiled wickedly. Kendricker. I'm sorry I think I misheard you all are telling this woman is the former guardian of Quintessence and you all had her locked up on a mountain which has been closed off nearly 2 decades. Naruto said in a pissed tone, despite the fact you basically left her to die when you put up the veil how is it she escaped the prison let alone the mountain? He asked wanting some answers. I am afraid the council does not know, the oracle said neutrally as he asked himself the same questions and how his vision had been so clouded to this. Well she had to get a hold of a magical item a weak one but still usable seeing as she has aged a great deal, Naruto said as Narissa looked double her natural age. Many such items have been lost through the struggles of good and evil, the oracle said as he should have been more active in searches for such items. Well she's been pulling strings from the shadows and has to have been in Meridian for a while, Naruto said as that was the most strategic position as she had pulled a lot of strategic moves she took. Can I ask why for whatever crazy reason you decided to kidnap them? Matt asked as Hunter sat in his lap and Huggles sat on his head as on the other side of the cell were Nigel and Sandra who she kidnapped after she kidnapped him. As much as I like to gloat Matthew, I'm afraid you don't need to know, Narissa said as she was looking over the book she stole from Naruto's home. Matt who is this hag? Nigel asked confused and creeped out. Despite his strong dislike for his former friend he felt he should fill him in to calm him down, long story short she's the bad guy and magic is real and the fact she took us spells bad news, he said very worried. Oh please magic are you serious? Sandra said as she believed this was all a bunch of crazy CRP. I would believe him young lady, Narissa said placing down the book. And why should I hag? Sandra said glaring at Narissa and was then zapped by said hag. I be quiet child, Narissa said holding up the heart of Meridian causing something to shoot out of Sandra, you feel superior when others feel inferior to you and feel better when others cower to you, she said as she looked into these two and knew they hated the guardians. Sandra screamed as ice enveloped her. Oh man, Nigel said, backing up in fear. And you making others miserable getting off on their pain, Nerissa said, shooting her lightning on the ground, revealing lava which then moved to Nigel, making him wince in pain while something shot out of him then returned as he was encased in hardened lava. Now you three, she said to Matt, Huggles, and Hunter, shooting lightning at them, causing something to shoot out of them and return. Like for Nigel and Sandra, I have one more person to take, she said, as she knew this person would be very useful to her in a magnitude of ways. Next day. Man, today was crazy, Elian said, a little tired as she was coming to school full time, her mother and Caleb taking care of certain matters in her stead and returned on weekends. So how's it feel to be a radio star? Naruto asked Irma curiously as she just started doing announcements for the school and the group was currently walking to a restaurant after a long search for parking. Awesome, Irma said happily. Still can't believe Martin got with Michelle, she said, happy for the guy who crushed on her for a long time. I can't believe Martin punched Jiraiya in his face, Hey Lin said in surprise as she still couldn't believe he gave Jiraiya a black eye. He was messing with Michelle, Cornelia said, as she would have done the same for the others, except the difference with her is that she'd break bone. Everyone has their limits, Terene said as she knew what it meant to reach the boiling point. Very true, Elian said, who had moved back to Heatherfield after she became the 6th guardian. Well, everything is starting to look up, Will said happily. Not for long, a man in a gold mask, black wings, a open vest revealing a muscular body, and a tail said flying above them. Okay, this is new, Irma said, wondering who this guy was. They were interrupted when a man beast with white fur revealed himself, smashing through a wall, letting out a fierce roar. Settle down, Core, a red man with a combo of red and orange hair said, landing on top of a vertical girder. He had a blackish spear-like battle axe in his hand, red devil-like wings, a red and black tunic, and golden armbands. Anyone else a little freaked out? Cornelia said as they all went back to back, seeing the three surround them on all angles. Trust me, it's only getting started, a blue-skinned woman with pure white hair and wings seemingly made of ice said, sticking to the air, wearing what seemed to be a battle dress that revealed her cleavage and legs, holding a battle axe. Anyone feeling else déjà vu? Irma asked, as it felt like they were in situations like this a lot. Naruto looked at all of them, glaring as he felt multiple familiar energies from all of them. He was brought out of his thoughts as a crash not too far from them was heard, and as the dust settled it revealed a woman. The woman had a full body set of golden and black armor. She had a mask similar to the black-winged man, but hers was smaller and seemed like a full-face opera mask. She had long auburn hair, and she had a pair of broadswords, one on each side of her hips. Girls, all these guys have chakra and magic, Naruto said, surprising them on the chakra part. When Nerissa killed Kisame, she must have distributed his chakra between them, and Kisame stole chakra from a lot of people, he thought, as he was one of those people, and even though he had a small part of Samahata, that piece still might have been able to combine all the power it took and could also separate it like the actual sword. He was brought out of his thoughts as something dark and unnatural approached, and when he looked in its direction he saw a pure black horse-sized wolf that seemed like it was killing the life out of the things it was near, as the grass and the ground around it either became black or a darker shade of its color. I am Shagan, the man with the black wings said neutrally. That's Core, he said, motioning to the man beast. That is Yang, he said, motioning to the giant wolf that growled. And that is Valkyrie, he said, looking at the silent woman. And you remember me, right, Naruto? The icy woman said, getting his attention. OSHT Sandra, Naruto said, taking a moment and realized who he was talking to, then to the red-skinned man that was glaring at him with intensity. Nigel, he said angrily as he still remembered what he did to Terene. Anyone else here? Maybe Jiraiya and his two idiots, he asked, wondering if Nerissa would be that crazy. Nah, it's just me, Nigel said, sounding smug. Wilt, Naruto said, knowing she'd know what to do. Guardians unite. Will said as she and the girls transformed. Finally, Shagan said as he landed, we are Nerissa's Knights of Destruction. Your destruction, he said, firing a beam near them, trying to intimidate them. I swear we're gonna beat you all into the ground, Will said, glaring at Sandra. Everyone pair off, Naruto said as he looked toward Valkyrie, as he was weary of her, as something about who he was seemed to irritate him, as he felt like he knew her, but due to all the power inside her it was hard to hone in on her own power from all the others. Will and Irma glared at Sandra ready to take her on. "You and me have a score to settle," Terene said, remembering what Nigel did to her, and when she thought back to the pain and sadness she felt, she channeled all that raw emotion into power. "Bring it on, B," Nigel said as they both let out intense heat. "I'm gonna enjoy making you into a fur coat," Cornelia said with a smirk, cracking her knuckles as Cor growled at her. Lin and Shagan stared each other down, but Shagan felt like he was being pushed back as he could tell Lin was effortlessly sending a strong wind in his direction. "Ugh, Naruto," Elyon said as the giant dog stared her down like she was a piece of meat just waiting to be devoured. "What, Elyon?" Naruto said as no one had made any first moves yet. "This thing I think it's Hunter," Elyon said, surprising everyone. Naruto knew it was stupid to take his eyes off Valkyrie, but he couldn't help it as he looked at the giant black dog and realized she was right. He felt pain in his heart as the little pup he cared for was turned into this. "Do what you have to, Elyon," he said with pain as he glared at Valkyrie. The girls knew it must have hurt Naruto a great deal of pain to say that, as they had always seen him playing, feeding, and loving the young pup with tender care. Giving Elyon permission to hurt Hunter was definitely a decision weighing on his heart that must have hurt him greatly. "Enough talk," Shagan said, blasting Lin as everyone went to fight their targets. With Naruto. "She's good," Naruto thought as he was using a pair of chakra rods to parry against her swords. "Who are you?" he asked her as she was very skilled, more than most people should be even if they just received chakra and magic. The woman remained silent and showed no sign of reacting to anything he did. "Who is she?" Naruto thought, unable to determine who she was, still having trouble from the multiple powers inside her. The woman's swords began to glow, making Naruto's eyes widen in surprise. "Okay, her chakra control is good," Naruto thought, putting some distance between them as he knew she was channeling her power through her swords, extending their reach. "She's the only one not showing any elemental power," he thought in wonder as all the others on the woman's side revealed some kind VE power. "With Will and Irma. Why is it this B can't get a life?" Will said as she and Irma tried shooting their individual elements at Sandra. "Because this B gets what she wants," Sandra said, firing a beam of ice that they dodged. "I mean, USLTS have been living the life getting so much loving from Naruto," she said, sounding both angry and smug. "Her powers must make her now immune to the spell," they thought in realization as the Oracle casted a spell to make their relationship to Naruto hidden from the masses. "Okay, enough of this. You have ice and I use lightning, meaning if I hit you it'll hurt a lot more," Will said as Sandra was now even more conductive than a regular person thanks to her icy nature. "Like I'll let you get that close," Sandra said as she kept her distance. "Don't forget about me," Irma said as she appeared behind Sandra, using her anger she had for Will as a way to sneak behind her. She unleashed a torrent of water, sending her crashing down to the ground. "Thanks, Irma," Will said, sending a blast of lightning at Sandra. But before it could hit her a dome of ice appeared around her. How'd she do that, she thought, wondering how Sandra could make a barrier of ice. "Thanks, Irma," Sandra said, sounding very smug as she broke through the sphere. "Thanks to all that excess water I was able to freeze it and protect myself," she said as she was able to quickly freeze Irma's water and manipulated the frozen molecules as they froze the water into a sphere. Irma said, realizing she was not suited to fight Sandra as she was made from her element, meaning she could manipulate it to an extent. "You," Will said angrily as she charged at Sandra. "With Cornelia." "I swear," Cornelia said as she was in a fist fight with Cor. "Is this all you can do?" she asked as even though the creature was strong it was not as her with her super strength. Cor growled and suddenly he bulked up a little, his massive muscles increased in size. Cornelia thought as she felt the gap in their strength closing. She stomped her foot on the ground. "I'm more than just a brawler, flea bag," she said as vines wrapped around him, restraining him, giving her the opportunity to send multiple punches at him, aiming at spots that would receive the most damage and do the most harm to Cor. "With Elyon. Hunter, come on, it's me, Elyon, remember?" Elyon said as she had yet to attack Hunter, something that wasn't reciprocated by said animal as it tried to pounce at her, jumping at incredible heights, reaching her in the air. Yang merely looked at her with hatred and wanted to rip her apart. Don't make me do this, Hunter, Hellion said as she stared him in the eyes, seeing the black abysses that were his eyes, and frowned, not seeing Hunter but a savage predator. I'm sorry, Hunter, she thought, charging her hands with light and blasted him with Hey Lin. Come on, Air Guardian, where's that speed I've heard so much about, Shagan said as he was basically racing against Hey Lin, occasionally blasting a beam at her. DMN, he's fast, Hey Lin begrudgingly thought as she changed her big wings to their original small size, and even though she lost some speed she gained more maneuverability, and it took away a small weakness giant wings always possessed. Hey Shagan, she said, aiming her palm at him, sending a huge blast of wind which he struggled against due to his large wings, making him fall off course and crash with Terranay. What's the matter, Terranay? Nigel said as he chased Terranay. Afraid of little ol' me, he said tauntingly. Terranay was keeping her distance as she and Nigel fired flames at one another and learned they could absorb each other's flames, and since he had a weapon he had the slight advantage over her since she didn't know what it could do. What's the matter, where can't do anything without your orphan boyfriend, Nigel said tauntingly. Man, if I knew you'd give it up so easy I would have dated you longer than did what I did to you, he said, smirking evilly as he began laughing. Terranay lost it and charged straight at Nigel, wanting to wipe that smug look off his face for insulting Naruto, but she stopped as Nigel slashed his axe-like spear, cutting her from her left side to her stomach, making her bleed heavily as she fell to the ground as blacked out. Terranay! Naruto yelled as he went into chakra mode and moved at incredible speeds, knocking down Valkyrie, and went straight to Nigel, aiming at vital spots, wanting him to suffer, as he then sent him flying and went to Terranay and saw she was losing a lot of BLD. Girls, he said, calling out to them. The others looked at Naruto and were all shocked to see Terranay's current state and went to them after sending their opponents a good distance away. She needs help, Cornelia said, slightly panicking, worried for her friend's life. You need to transform her back. Not sure how strong the Oracle's power is to render people from noticing wings, Naruto said, as their secret would cause panic and he needed to bring her to a hospital. Will immediately did as asked, and Naruto made a phone call to the hospital reporting that Terranay had been stabbed and she had called him, leaving little room for him as a suspect as he did not want to deal with the cops again. Good luck, Naruto said as he knew he took down Nigel, and with him taking Terranay the numbers on both sides would be even and had to believe the girls would be able to take them on. Half-hour later. Naruto sighed in relief as he saw Terranay's parents come in, as the hospital wouldn't let him due to him not being immediate family. She was hurt badly, but I don't know much, he said, knowing that they would ask him how she was doing as he called the family to let them know she was here. Excuse me, where is Terranay's cook room? I am her mother, Teresa. Cook, Teresa said to a nurse, telling her the necessary information to see her daughter. They all went to a hospital room and saw Terranay looking pale, which made the parents gasp. Mr. and Mrs. Cook, hello, I'm your daughter's acting physician, a doctor said, introducing himself. Your daughter is stable. We were able to close the wound up, but I'm afraid with her massive loss of BLD and she needs an immediate BLD transfusion, he said, as they all understood what it meant if she didn't get any. Yes sir, a nurse said, coming inside with 2 folders, and when the doctor looked at them he winced a little. I'm sorry, but neither of you are a match to your daughter's BLD type, he said, getting Naruto's attention. What? Naruto said in surprise, wondering how that was possible. I come to this hospital for checkups, my records are on file. My a match? He asked the doctor, who made the nurse take his name as they both left to check. How? He asked the parents, wanting to know how it was possible Terranay didn't share their BLD types. Terranay is adopted, Teresa said, getting Naruto's full attention. She's adopted, Naruto thought in surprise, as Terranay had a striking resemblance to them. He wouldn't have believed it. Good news, Mr. Namikaze, you are a match, the doctor said with a smile, but with the current decline in her health we need to do a live transfusion, he said, as the action when transferring someone's BLD directly into another was rare nowadays. Well, what are you waiting for? My consent, get this ready, Naruto said in urgency, not wanting to waste a minute. Thank you, Lionel said, very grateful at this very moment. Thank me when she's okay, Naruto said, as the doctor and nurse came in and stuck a needle into his arm and injected the other end to Terranay. An hour later. We need to get Terranay out of here, Naruto said to the girls, as the doctors were getting curious as to how Terranay was healing so fast and well. Yeah, I mean seriously, no scar, how's this possible? Cornelia asked as she examined Taranee's wound, seeing the cut was still visible but there was no scar tissue. I have certain aspects with my BLD that enable a healing factor. It might be because Taranee doesn't have those qualities, and with her powers and the powers and traits of my cells inside her, it might be activating it, otherwise other people wouldn't be healing this fast, Naruto said as Tsunade had tested his BLD when he was younger and found that it didn't have any negative properties. How are we gonna get her out of here? Hey Lin asked as Taranee was on a lot of drags and wasn't conscious. I don't know, but they're getting curious, Naruto said, expecting the doctor to come in any minute as he had been checking on Taranee every 5 to 10 minutes. What's the worst case scenario if they get a hold of your BLD? Will asked curiously. Biological warfare, Naruto said as he knew his BLD could do a lot of good, but people would also try and find what it was resilient to, and a person never knew who they could trust. My BLD is stronger than most people, would expose it to diseases and other stuff, maybe curing a lot of stuff, and people would want to lock me up for study thinking I'm the Holy Grail, he said as his genetics were, for a lack of a better word, strong. What about the Oracle? Irma said as he covered a lot of the magical stuff. Maybe I'll check with him, Naruto said, needing to do this with urgency as he need to stop this immediately. Few minutes later. Yes, I should be able to do this with ease, the Oracle said as he completely understood the situation and the emergency risks taken. Thanks, Naruto said, hating to rely on others to clean his mess but knew this had to be done. I wish you could trust me more, the Oracle said, even though he understood why Naruto didn't trust the council as a whole, or only barely trusted the members he did trust, as he had lately been seeing a side to some of the members he didn't see or expect in them after knowing them for years. As they talked, they were unaware they were being watched by Luba. Soon Naruto, soon, Luba thought as she walked away as her preparations were almost done, and when she walked toward the Oromirs she noticed a white sixth one. In Meridian. Abner was currently resting in the Infinite City but suddenly was awakened roaring in pain and then stopped as his eyes became slits. Few minutes later with Taranee. Hey, how are you doing? Naruto asked with a smile as Taranee woke up. Ow, Taranee said, trying to get up, feeling her side that ached a little. What happened? She asked, her mind a little hazy. Nigel stabbed you, Naruto said, getting a little angry from what he did but controlled it. I told the cops you told me it was Nigel who stabbed you, he said, as that was true, but he minced some details. BSTRD stabbed you, least I could do was make sure he goes down for attempted murder, he said as he saw Taranee smile a little. Taranee, Lionel said as he and Teresa rushed in as they were talking to the doctor about her condition. Naruto left the room as he knew this was gonna get a little ugly soon, as he knew the parents were forced to tell Taranee the truth, as they knew with him knowing he'd tell her and that would be worse, and asked for privacy, and normally he'd say no to not being there, but it was between family so he'd respect their privacy. Few minutes later. Taranee was currently on her hospital bed and was crying as she felt betrayed and her heart ached with pain as she learned her biological parents abandoned her when their house burned down. But the parents who raised her took her in and raised her, treated her like their own flesh and BLD, but knowing the truth and learning that she'd been lied to her whole life made her heart just hurt every time it beat, and the fact her element was fire and that it was the reason that made her biological parents give her up made her laugh a little from the irony. It gets easier, Naruto said, walking in as he could tell she needed a moment. Does it? Taranee asked a little in disbelief, then winced as she remembered that she saw his memories and realized she had it pretty. Yeah, I may not have been abandoned by my parents, but I can definitely tell you not knowing them till later on in life sucks just as much, Naruto said as he felt similar to Taranee as when he learned who his parents were. He wasn't immediately filled with joy, he felt negative emotions just as much as positives from the sudden appearance and truth. Does it change anything with your adoptive parents? He asked her curiously. Maybe, but I know they're my real family, Taranee said with a smile. Naruto just walked over to her bed, sat next to her and gave her a comforting hug. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 15. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author's pyrohelixdrago, KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.